Welcome back to Man Down Sports. As you can see from the thumbnail, we got a touch on the Tracy McGrady saga that started with him and Gilbert Arenas on First Take a week ago, maybe a little bit more than a week ago. But I did a video on it for sure. I'm sorry, that's my phone playing. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. Yeah, so we got to touch on that, man. I see some people already in the comment section. Autism boy, shout out to you, man. Divine Hawkins, what's up, man? The perspective with Brooklyn 80, that's my dog. What's good, man? 6'4" Slim in the house. I got moderators in here, so I think we're good to go. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all hit the share button to get multiple people in here. Let me check my sound really quick. Yeah, my sound is good. My mic is good, so we can get started. I do want to shout out my members though, because we got new members, and I haven't really shouted them out. Um, in a couple of episodes, man. So, I do want to let y'all know I appreciate y'all 100%. Because what y'all do for the membership, as far as being paid monthly members and stuff like that, it helps me continue to podcast. You gotta pay for Wi-Fi and stuff like that. You gotta upgrade your Wi-Fi. I gotta upgrade my Wi-Fi again because now that I upgraded my equipment, it's demanding a little bit more. And I got to do some things different with my setup. So when you get paid members and y'all come in here and y'all dedicating, whether it's $4, $5, and y'all doing it on a monthly basis, man, y'all understand how much that actually helps keep stuff going. So shout out to Dante. I think he's a new member. Be New, the real Mr. Cropper, is been here for months, almost probably a year. Mr. Corner 21, Michael Young, Eric C, Torrance Hall, Right Hand Cam, Andrea Williams, Zara Lyon, Simply Hot Takes, D Bull 4735, Savon Arnold has been here for a while. L. Donald, Wizman Ballin, definitely been here for a long time. Farrell Scott, Cliff Hill, very familiar name. He's been for a while. Laker Nation. Thank y'all for all of that. Beaver's older brother Wally. This first time I seen him. So I appreciate you for joining. Mary Lewis, OD, but goody. 6'4" Slim's been here for a long time. Big Al, Master Chief, one of my biggest donators. I think that's because we belong to the same fraternity. You know what I mean? So I appreciate Big Al, Master Chief, for sure. Malachi Israel's been for a long time. Ashley H been here for a while. It's not that serious. Been here for a while. Keith Brazell been here for a long time. Big T, James Reed, Demetrius Day, Taco Master has been here for a very long time and very consistent on mostly every episode. Cedric Franklin, E King, Steve Calvert. These are people that's been here for a long time. Unspoken Voices. Shout out to you. That's my auntie, not in real life, but I'm her adopted nephew. Taco Master again has 2 memberships, man. I definitely appreciate that. Ryan Walters, Shay J, WWR Jeffrey Garrett. That's my brother from another mother. Shy Rider West Side of 23. He usually texts me from time to time. If my sound is out here, he makes sure he texts me and let me know my sound is not popping or anything that's going on. I think last time I was in here talking with the mute button on my mic. And I talked for about 5 or 6 minutes, and my phone lines was going nuts. Boop, 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 and Shy Rider was one of the guys in here. Greg Anderson, my dog, busy. He busy as all get out, man, but he still pops in and make sure he support and stuff like that, man. SWAT, man, like I appreciate all of y'all, man. Appreciate all of that. But we got some stuff that we got to talk about, man. The phone line's going to be open. I'm definitely going to open those phone lines. Definitely like and subscribe and share as well, y'all. Once again, shout out to the members and thank y'all. And everybody should be thanking the members, man, for making sure that I can come in here and keep doing podcasts and stuff like that, right? So but I want to get into T-Mac's conversation. I want to go a little bit deeper because last time I talked about it, it was just based on the fact that I was just appalled that he went that route, like that he would even say that. But he backpedaled a little bit. He did a podcast with and I want to make sure I get this podcast right. I should put a link. I'm probably put a link to their podcast so y'all can see the full episode. but I think it's called Tom, man. Why did I mess this up? I had it in my head. It's not Time Savers, it's Time something podcast. And I'll put the link in the description because I forgot just that quick, man. But he did that pretty long, hour interview, and most of this interview, was kind of like, just going through his timeline of coming into the league, and it was that type of interview. It was journalistic and in nature. He did get to the part where he addressed the Kobe comments he made on First Take, and he kind of walked that back. But then after he walked it back, he went down probably about 20 minutes of excuses why he think that he should be looked at different, and not just for the fact that he didn't win. Hey man, this happened in Orlando, this happened in Houston, this happened here. He was given just I don't know, a whole bunch of ways out, for him to kind of not get that limelight of, you didn't win, you were the leader of this team, you didn't make it happen, so we have to view you in a way of a superstar who just couldn't make it happen. And I don't think nothing wrong with that, right? I don't think anything is wrong with that, and I think people like Charles Barkley accepted that, and I think T-Mac probably accepted it as well. But with LeBron James coming out and saying rings don't matter and it's a team accomplishment, gave him a window of opportunity to come in, and then Gilbert Arenas provided him. I mean, because you got to think about how this is set up. Like LeBron says that, and then First Take, and I think this was during was this a post game of Game 7 at the finals? It might have been a post game. You got to think of Stephen A. Smith and the producers for First Take saying, you know what, we should invite Gilbert Arenas and T-Mac on for like that doesn't just happen like that, right? Stephen A. Smith got invited to Gil's arena. He showed up, and as I scratch your back, you scratch my back type of thing. Gilbert Arenas with his hot takes went on First Take, right? He probably also set it up for, hey, look, man, I got other guys on this panel that that should get some a platform as well. So First Take had Kenyon Martin on after that. And that's just how that industry works, right? So the relationship is there. They're probably texting and having phone conversations. And so after this LeBron thing came out, I think what happened is Gilbert Arenas jumped off the porch with what he said on Gil's Arena and mentioning T-Mac, and then hey, Stephen A. Smith and Gilbert Arenas talking. It was like, this is a good, perfect opportunity for us. It's a hot topic right now. Have me and T-Mac on. So that's what they had. They had T-Mac and Gilbert Arenas on, and this conversation comes up. And I think Gilbert Arenas might have been prepping or putting a battery in T-Mac's back, basically saying, look, dog, this is your opportunity to get that daggone monkey off your back if you couldn't win, and let people understand, like, hey man, you was on Kobe's level, you could have won, things didn't work out and all that stuff. So you can be looked at different because this man was left out of the top 75. Or was he he's definitely a Hall of Famer, but I think he was left off the top 75, right? And that's a big reason probably why is he never won. And Gilbert Arenas is like, man, like, dude, how you left out of top 7? So T-Mac is probably like, I want some more respect put on my name. This is a perfect opportunity. And I think that's what happened. I think Gil put a battery in his back. I don't think T-Mac really felt 100%, that rings don't matter, but this is a perfect opportunity for me to ride that wave and get some respect put back on my name. Hey, thanks, American Freeman. Not top 75. So not top 75, and he probably felt some type of way about that, and he think that the ring culture is the reason why he's not top 75. Let's fix this. So that's the groundwork of him making that comment, right? So what ended up happening is he got way more resistance than he thought he was going to get. Gilbert Arenas got way more resistance than he thought he was going to get as well. I mean, he's been arguing about this on his show for the last week and a half. Like, it's been knocked down, drag out arguments on his Gilbert Arenas show with Nick Young about this very topic, right? And I just want you to remember, because the conversation started with LeBron James saying rings don't matter when it comes to your greatness. It's a team accomplishment. It's not an individual accomplishment. It's a team accomplishment. It should not matter when it comes to your greatness as an individual player. That's what LeBron is saying. That's what made Gil jump off the porch. And that's what brought T-Mac into this conversation. And Gil is trying to, he's trying to make a point, or he's trying to support the point that LeBron is trying to make. We know what LeBron's motive is. LeBron is systematically trying to take everything down a notch that doesn't suit him in the GOAT debate, right? And he's trying to take it down a notch, and Gilbert Arenas is, hey, look, I'm here to help, right? Whatever we can bring down, we'll bring it down a notch so it'll help your GOAT debate. This is probably going to be your last year. This is our last shot opportunity to make sure that we drive this point home. Rings don't matter is that's just one of the things, right? Gilbert Arenas is just doing LeBron's bid, and T-Mac and Kobe are just pawns in their game right now, right? So let's get into it. What resistance did they get? Well, first and foremost, the fans of Kobe and fans of basketball in general, who's like, dude, how are we not gonna count? Like, why are we discrediting ring? Like, how are we going to do that, right? And what I like from Draymond Green, and this is how I know it's an agenda of what Gilbert is trying to do. Draymond Green goes on threads and says a bunch of non-champions having championship conversations. This world we live in is crazy. Here's no chill Gil. This is how I know he has an agenda. He said, you should thank us for the conversation. Or why would Draymond Green thank you for this conversation? Well, he's going to tell you. Second options. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank us for this conversation. So second options and thirds get their fair judgment, right? So he's saying, Draymond Green, you should thank us for this, right? And this is probably part of what he probably told T-Mac by putting the batter in his back. Look, listen, this conversation that we're having right now that LeBron just started, this helps people like you out who didn't win. So we can get more respect on your name, because we shouldn't really be counting rings when we're saying how great a player is. This helps you out, T-Mac. Go on First Take with me and we'll drive this point home. Right, but they didn't expect so much resistance and pushback. They thought it was they actually thought that everyone was as dumb as they think they are, or the people who are not that dumb was going to be as quiet as they usually are. Because usually when dumb narratives come out like this, you have your few, podcasts on YouTube from small creators like myself who might say something, but we're not loud enough. Very rarely you're going to get people on the ESPN level to give pushback and resistance. So what ends up happening is what they say, or what LeBron James or what Clutch Sports say, ends up getting out into the atmosphere, and now it's cliche, and it's something that everyone is saying that's part of the new era of NBA basketball. Now this becomes set in stone. Once we let the lie just permeate and just percolate throughout the atmosphere, it almost gets written in stone. Like that's how and they know that's how I operate. So he's saying, look, man, T-Mac, we go on First Taking and we go ahead and get this ball rolling. We can change things for how people view you as a non-winner, right, of a ring, right? Now he's trying to tell Draymond Green, you should be thanking us. This conversation is for guys like you, second options and third options. Now you can get fair judgment. What is fair judgment for a third option is not meaning you're supposed to get equal judgment for a first option. Like the 4 rings that Draymond got is not equal to the 4 rings that Steph got, because what they're asking Steph to do and what they expect Steph to do, and how often teams are game planning against him to stop him, and you're still being able to get it done, means that you've done more heavier lifting as the number one option than the number two or anything after the number two. You cannot get fair judgment is not equal judge. Fair and equal is not the same thing. That's not the same, right? Fair judgment is if you work 8 hours and someone else worked 6 hours and had to leave early, I get to pay him for 6 hours and I get to pay the other guy for 8 hours. That's fair, but it's not equal. Fair and equal is not the same. So you cannot extend the same amount of judgment or credit or expectations or praise on the second and third option as you do the first option. It's not, you're not supposed to do that. That's fair. Why would I give the third the same as the first? It's fair, but it's not equal, right? Then he goes on to say, Klay with 4 rings left off the top 75. So what? If there was 75 number one options better than him, your 4 rings as a second option, well, actually your 2 rings as a second option and your 2 rings as a third option, because KD was there for 2 of them. He was the number one option, right? Offense might have ran, it was Steph's offense, but the number one option was KD. It was Steph offense, but the number one option was KD. Let's be real. Steph was the number 2 or co-star, whatever you want to say, or 1A or 1B, whatever you want to say. But Klay was definitely number 3 for 2 of those rings and number 2 for 2 of them, right? If I got a number 1 like Allen Iverson, who has led a team as a number 1 and got to the finals and won MVP, that's really going to weigh more than a number 3 option with 4 rings. I'm sorry. And no real work. So what Gilbert Arenas is doing is conflating the argument. And for LeBron's conversation, you know, if he's going to be compared to Bird, Magic, Michael, Kobe, Tim Duncan, you know, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, he's going to be compared to those greats. Amongst those guys, rings become very important. All of those guys were number 1 options their whole career. All of those guys won as number 1 options, right? So that ring conversation, that ring culture are really for those guys, right? Then if we want to rank a top 75, once you start getting down the list to the Irises and stuff like that, they're not in the conversation with the GOATs of the league, right? So rings don't weigh the same amount for a number 2 or number 3 option, and rings don't penalize guys that are number 1 options who didn't win it. You know, so so for a number 1 option who didn't win but was competitive his whole career, got to the finals, got to the conference finals, whatever the case may be, you showed us sustained superior performance as a number 1 option, right? With results yielded for your team. That weighs more than a guy who just rode the bus and was able to get a ring as a number 3 like Draymond. So no, we're not trying to get rid of ring culture, quote unquote, so we can make it better for non-winners and role players. That's not what we're doing. So he's trying to make the argument that I'm going to make this argument based on one guy, Kobe. That's the best name he can use, but for a lot of reasons. One, it's a big enough name. 2, you can get away with it for a number of reasons. 1, he's not here no more to really defend himself. And 2, for so long, the media has been okay with slandering. I ain't even gonna say slander, has been okay with degrading Kobe Bryant. Like it's cliche to do it. So you're not going to get a lot of pushback in the media from it. You're going to get a lot of head nods. So he's an easy target, an easy name to really go out there to use as a straw man in an argument that really is not even it don't even correlate together, right? So he's using Kobe, he's using Pippen, and now he's trying to circle the wagons and bring in people like Draymond Green and Klay, because you know Draymond Green got a podcast as well and a big mouth. And if Draymond Green can get on board with this, oh, then we cooking with hot grease now. So he's talking about Clay with 4 rings left off the top 75. So what? Pippen has 6 rings and 632 all time. 6 people in front of him with no rings. Why? Without even looking at those 6 names, I can already tell you they're probably number 1 options who has displayed sustained superior performance as a number 1 with the team accomplishments or the team success to match, even though they didn't win a ring, right? So, yeah, those guys are probably going to be in the number 2 option that played behind the GOAT, who offensively, he do have some limits. I mean, he can do everything, but as a number 1 option, he's lacking something. It might be mentally, it might be something else, but he's lacking something. He's no Iverson. They got Iverson in front of him. Chris Paul, I wouldn't have put Chris Paul in front of him, but I think Chris Paul is higher on the list on the top 75 than Pippen. So, okay, so there's a mistake there, right? However, like I mentioned on the last video, there are small forwards that are clearly better than Scottie Pippen. And Scottie Pippen have been put in front of them because of those 6 rings as a number 2. So small forwards like Elgin Baylor, James Worthy, Dominique Wilkins, I think Scottie Pippen are ranked above them. And the rings did it because I think those small forwards are better than him. so it's a tough argument to make. But let's get into T-Mac backpedaling a little bit of sort with his Kobe comments.
Obviously, you were on First Take last week, made a comment, said, if I was with Shaq, along the lines, if I was with Shaq, I'd probably have a title. And the point of that is pretty much, well, you think fans probably overestimate titles when they come to talk about legacy, right? Or greatness.
I wouldn't say they overestimate it, but it doesn't tell the full story of guys that didn't complete it.
Yeah.
And to go back to those comments, I never should have said replace. I think replacing Kobe. I don't want to say I'm replacing Kobe. I will stand on playing with Shaq though.
Yeah. Playing with
Shaq. I in that era, and we're talking about we're not talking about an overall career head matchup like my resume, Kobe resume, my career, Kobe. We're not talking about that. We're only talking about a specific moment era where in 2000, 2001 to like 2007, 2008 in that time frame. But specifically when I was in Orlando and Shaq they were three-peating. Shaq was the most dominant player in our game.
Yeah.
When I'm seeing a guy averaging 38 and 16 in the finals, and I'm over here, I'm averaging 30 as a 21-year-old. Yeah, I believe if I'm playing with that big guy, I can win a championship. And the story is told differently. And the reason I said that is because Shaq, Kobe, Tim Duncan, in that time was the only ones winning championships.
Yeah.
Bro, everybody know Kobe's my man, bro.
Yeah.
Kobe's my brother, bro. There's no way in hell I would ever disrespect my brother like that. Yes, it came out as me replacing. I never said I was better than Kobe. Never, and I would never say that. I'm on the front line. I'm on the front line of advocating for my brother. Always.
Yeah, I think the point you were making is that you can't diminish someone's career or talent because they didn't win the championship, because that's just situation based for the most part, right?
It's always situational.
So this tells me T-Mac, I mean, he really do got love for Kobe. I think he really do regret how it came out and came across. And it also lets me know that this really wasn't his doing. I think I'm right in the fact that Gilbert Arenas put a battery in his back. I think this started with LeBron, and I think the job of Clutch Sports plants like Gilbert Arenas, Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp to a lesser degree now. I think he might be out of the circle a tad bit, but he got to keep up the facade because hey, like I started this long ago. I can't flip flop now because it'd be too obvious, right? But this just goes to show that Gilbert Arenas really did put the batter in his back to go on First Take and try to advocate for himself by saying that he could have got those rings or one of those rings as well. But what's the point of saying that? You get what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't an important enough thing that we needed to hear that as fans, right? Who needed to hear that during the finals? Who really needed to hear, oh, I could have got them rings. I could have won with the big fella. Who wants to hear that? Like, who wanted to hear that? Why was that so important for Gilbert Arenas that it needed to be said? You get what I'm saying? Like, you know, I take some from Dominque from Sports T. A lot of times she tell me what plays in her head for a long time is when she's about to say something like that, controversial or whatever the case may be. It goes in her mind 3 questions: does this need to be said? Does it need to be said by me? And something else I can't remember. But you know, you got to think about those things. Why? What are we going to get from saying this? Does it really need to be said? And if it does need to be said, does it need to be said by me? And for some reason, Gilbert Arenas thought that this needed to be said, and it needed to be said by T-Mac and support it. And now he's trying to pull in Draymond Green. Somebody, you should be happy. Make sure y'all hit the like button right now, man. Like button. Let's get the 200 likes right now. But yeah, I don't think it need to be said. But T-Mac saw it as an opportunity, or Gilbert Arenas explained that this is an opportunity for him to kind of shine a different type of light on him that's not so negative for the fact that he didn't never win, right? So I think that's what he was trying to do, right? He was trying to do that, and Gilbert Arenas had something else. Like, once T-Mac says this, then we can go to the next phase of how far we want to take this. You know, like how far we're going to take it from. Because remember, at the end of the day, it's still a straw man, right? It's still a straw man's argument. This is not the real argument. The real argument started with, does rings matter at all, right? T-Mac and Kobe. Kobe is just a casualty of this, and T-Mac is a pawn, right? So the initial point that they're trying to make started with LeBron, that rings do not matter. And Gilbert Arenas was just playing the chessboard and saying, okay, rings don't matter. That's a very hard argument to win. I can't win that argument. Let me go another route. Let me use Kobe. Let me use T-Mac. And if we can get the point driven home that, oh man, like, you take one great player out of a situation, put another great player in there, they will have those rings. So now we really are getting to the point where we're devaluing the ring, right? We're devaluing the ring because it's just situational. If I was in that same situation, I could get those rings. Everybody don't believe that. There was more pushback. Baron Davis. Baron Davis said, Kobe cap. Long live the Mamba. Y'all got to stop with the hot takes. I can break it down and tell you why you, and he's not even talking to the fans, he's talking about T-Mac. He said, I can tell you why you wouldn't have won if you switch places. Kobe is the illest. And then he went on below that and said, T-Mac was great at offense, one of the best to ever do it. In all caps, he says, Kobe, great overall. Huge difference. Huge difference. Great at offense, great overall. It's some truth to that, but I gotta give T-Mac his love for being. I mean, like, we're not gonna pretend like he couldn't defend too. He could defend as well, but we just know Kobe was a different animal. Let's just be real. Right? So shout out to Baron Davis and Draymond Green for holding it down. Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson held it down as well. And a lot of fans on social media held it down as well. Like, no, we're not gonna let you get away with this. So much so that T-Mac is not the type of vicious type person that some of these other players are. He came right out and backpedaled and was like, look, oh man, y'all think I disrespected Kobe? I'm sorry. No, that is not my intention. I'm not disrespecting him. I didn't even say I'm better than him. right? I didn't say I'm better than Kobe, right? So let's just get that out the way. No, I'm not saying I'm better than Kobe. I don't want no smoke. I respect it. Right? I mean, shout out to T-Mac for having the balls to come out and backpedal a little bit, but shame on Gilbert Arenas, man. Gilbert Arenas just won't stop, man. So what ended up happening as a result of all of this? Gilbert Arenas, I mean, there's like 5 or 6 different sound bites of them going off about this conversation. I mean, they even had to invite Ron Artest on the show so Ron Artest can say, well, yeah, it was a 2-year stretch where people was like, dang, Kobe or T-Mac, right? But remember, that's the straw man. For those of y'all who not familiar with that, to intentionally misrepresent a proposition, right, that is set up because it's easier to defeat than an opponent's real argument. What did I say the real argument was? The real argument is rings do matter because LeBron said they didn't. So the argument against it is no, they do, and they've always have. So instead of Gilbert Arenas arguing that point, he created a straw man based on T-Mac and Kobe. Gilbert is really good at doing it. He do it on his show all the time. He creates these straw man arguments, and then he'll have Nick Young arguing with him over the straw man, and then Kenya Martin will team up with Jennings and Kenya Martin will both team up against Nick Young, and Nick Young is like a simple dude. Like, I'm not gonna go in depth. I ain't about to do all this research. So when Gilbert Arenas come with this research and be like, hey, I did X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 Nick Young is just like, look, all I got is common sense. I'm not doing no research on that. Like, it's common sense that rings matter. Like, what are we talking about? And that's how he argued it. He don't come back with all this data to prove that rings matter. Why the hell would I, like, that's the only reason why we play. Why do I need data to prove that they matter? Like, they don't make sense at all. Why would I need that? So Gil always makes it look like he's winning these debates against Nick Young because they're not arguing the real point of rings matter. They're arguing the straw man of could T-Mac actually win in place of Kobe Bryant. And then when he wins that argument because, people like Grana Tessa come out and say, oh, yeah, it was a 2-year period where we didn't know who was better, T-Mac or Kobe. Now Gilbert is like, I told you. So now since he won that straw man, it makes the original argument also a win for him, and he can establish that rings don't matter. Very tricky how he does that. And then he'll do other things that, people on my panel do this as well. They'll argue something and be wrong about it, and then say all of these odd truths. Like, no, like, oh, that's true. And it don't connect to the argument that they're wrong about. But all of these truth, like, they're all straw mans. Like, they just place them all over the place. Straw man. And if you get in trouble to argue that straw man, you already lost. If you ever argue a straw man, you've already lost. So the best thing is like, nah, that's not what we're arguing. I'm glad you brought that up, but that's not the conversation. The conversation was about, do rings matter? But, he moved away from that really quick. Let's hear how Gilbert Arenas did this. It was nasty work.
When I make the statement that no one gives a fuck about the number 2 rings, it's not my opinion. That's history. It's shown, right?
Okay, so now he's saying people don't care about the number 2 rings. Remember, the original one was rings don't matter. Remember what I said. Rings do matter, especially at the conversation for the top of the GOAT list, right? It's probably the top 10 guys. That's your Duncans, your Hakeems, your Shaqs, your Bill Russells, your Jordans, your LeBrons, all of these guys. Kobe, Bird, Magic, those guys right there. When you have a conversation with those guys, rings will be discussed. He couldn't win that argument because that's true, so he jumped down to number 2s. Now we're trying to have a conversation around when Kobe was a number 2. And Scottie Pippen and Draymond and Clay, you trying to have a conversation about number 2 rings. And he's saying, when he said that people don't care about number 2 rings, you know, he got proof. But it's not that we don't care about it. It's just not, it doesn't weigh the same as a number 1 ring. How could it?
Are y'all respecting Scottie Pippen for 6 rings like you do Michael Jordan?
No. Why would we respect Scottie the same way we respect Michael for the 6 rings? That don't make sense. Right? It doesn't make sense. If Horace Grant was with them for all 6 of those rings, will we respect Horace Grant the same as we respect Scottie? No, he's a number 3. He's below Scottie. Scottie's job was a tougher job. Do you if I ask you who the best president we ever had in the world, no one's going to mention the vice president. Like, go down the list. Who's your top 3 presidents ever? I wish somebody would come out and say who was a vice president? Kamala Harris. How? She's never been a president. You can't rank a number 2 the same as you rank a number 1. Who's the best president? You can't name a vice president. That makes sense. Who's the best? I don't know. Who's the best CEO of who's the best CEO we've ever had at Bank of America? Well, that list is only CEOs. You can't go to the secretary of the CEO and be like, well, I mean, the year that he was CEO and she was secretary, they brought in the most money that year. So maybe do we respect the secretary as much as we respect the CEO for the job that he or she did? No. You cannot get the same respect as a number 2 that you get for as a number 1. That's not a real thing, Gilbert Arenas.
No. Right? Are you respecting Clay with his 4 rings? Did you put him in the top 75? No. They didn't.
They do respect Clay with his 4 rings. He's won so many. He's gotten in all stars and he's got max contracts. We talk about him a lot. He's getting his respect, but as a number 3 or a number 2 at best, how much credit can you get for those 4 rings or those 2 rings that you got as a number 2 and those 2 you got as a number 3? How much credit can you get? Not as much as Steph. So what are we arguing here? Are we arguing that a number 3 should get the same respect as a number 1? So when you really break it down like that, which is what Nick Young doesn't do, because it's just nonsense to him, like what's understood should not have to be said. And that's how Nick feel like, dude, like, why are we even doing this? Like, winning is winning. Like, how? Like, you're making all these sub arguments to try to argue a point that's not winnable. Rings are always going to matter. You can't come up with all these other little sub arguments that whatever data point that you got to support it. And then, okay, so now, like, if I agreed with you that Clay doesn't get the amount of respect for 4 rings, now what, Gil? Now what are you going to say? If he can establish that point, the next step is now we can go back to saying, so we're in agreement that rings don't matter. And then once we go there, the next step is, since rings don't matter, now we take rings out of the argument for the GOAT debate. That's the whole move.
Yeah, right? I mean, there's, right? So, hell no, he's not in the top 75. Number 75 is Dame Leonard. True. Okay, so you don't respect the second option. So what ends up happening is last night you got the number 1 guy saying, no, this is my guy. He helped me in the past as a second option. You send motherfuckers there celebrating, doing it. Like, think about Kyrie. Hit the shot. Boom. He's hit the shot. And then everybody, LeBron. He's sitting there like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't think they did that back in the day?
No. Same thing Kobe was mad about.
But
like, I'm doing all this in the game 6 of the game 7.
Shaq said something about Kobe.
Shaq said, yeah,
after the 3rd championship.
But Kobe thing was like, y'all, no matter what, y'all not going to give me my respect if I don't win without Shaq.
Yes, and that was the whole thing.
That's
But because he wasn't getting the respect.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because, that's what it was real. Like, he had, like, in his mind, I have to win without this dude. You know what I'm saying? There's no question about it. For my legacy and what I think I am to this game, and I have to win without Shaq, right?
And then the Tracy rumors being better than him.
Here we go. And the Tracy rumors being better than him. So we're about to get into it. So, yeah, that was a thought process of Kobe's. Yeah, I got to win without Shaq. Why does he have to win without Shaq? Not because people were saying T-Mac was better than him. That's not why he said he had to win. he had to win without Shaq because the conversation of the greats, Magic, Bird, Jordan, Wilt, Kareem, when the conversation around those guys came, they wasn't thought of, even though Magic was a number 2 behind Kareem for a couple of those rings, and then it kind of flip-flopped where Kareem got older and then he became a number 2. Right. So even though those both guys played a 1A, 1B role, they didn't look at Shaq and Kobe that way because it was a different dynamic of Kobe coming in as a high schooler and, you know, it looking like he was up on the Shaq's ring, but time told us different. Time told us that Kobe was already mentally ahead of most of them dudes, probably even Shaq as well. And work ethic and drive and will to win and all these things. And he was a totally different animal, right? So time tells us that. Time also tells us that those 2 years that we was debating whether T-Mac or Kobe was the best, time tells us that there was a wasted debate. It was obvious now to us that Kobe was always better than T-Mac. Even T-Mac admits that. So now time tells us that. So and with history on our side and hindsight being 2020, you get what I'm saying? Why even have a 2-week long debate around something that has already been established and well known? Like, why even had a debate? Because he's using Kobe as a pawn in this situation, because he's trying to get to a much greater conversation that he's trying to win over. That way it makes it easier and, you know, for LeBron to walk into what he wants to walk into, you know, as the GOAT. Let's bring down everything, right? An example of what I'm talking about of what they're trying to bring down. I got a graphic for you. If I can get it in here really quick. What's been going on for quite some time with Clutch Sports and LeBron, is they've been trying to systematically, one by one, attack everything that's you know, a big deal in, you know, the legacy of Michael Jordan. Everything that's on that graphic has been attacked. Down below you see the hardest era, right? That was something that was big for Mike. Because I ain't even gonna say the hardest era was the best era, because I think the hardest era might have been when they was allowing them to freaking play football on the basketball court, right? But they didn't have the best players or the best form of basketball at that time, so it wasn't the best era. It was probably the hardest from a physical standpoint, right? When the 90s came, you had a mix of everything that was great about the NBA. You had physical toughness, mental toughness, defense. You had harder ways to score because the paint was so packed with players that you didn't have that much spacing, so you had to become a better scorer from all angles on the court and all parts of the court. You had great players, you had great exposure, great marketing. Like everything was at its best, at its peak from 90s to early 2000s, and then we started purposely making the game easier to score, harder to defend, less physical, more marketing than ever, to a fault. You know, not oh man, Michael Jordan's great, let's put him on TV more. It was more of a, well, it worked with Mike, so we got to find another player. The closest player that we think can get there, we're going to market that player, and we're going to, you know, we're going to fill in the gaps where this player don't match a Michael Jordan, and just fill those gaps in with pretty much lies. We're going to make this person just as big as Michael Jordan. So the marketing, it became more fake, more WWE. But anyway, the best era, toughest era, whatever, that was something that was part of Michael Jordan's legacy, which we'll say, well, I mean, obviously the better player comes from the better era and the toughest era. I mean, he had to become a better player to survive in the era and to dominate it. And to get 6 rings in that era is definitely more than 4 rings in this era. So what was the initiative for that era of basketball? We're done with the 90s. You know what was funny? I'm listening to Kevin Durant, Steve Nash, and LeBron James on Game to Mind podcast this morning. And you'll never forget. LeBron James said, "We're done with the 90s," and was laughing and thought that was just funny. Didn't think it was disrespectful at all. He thought that was funny. We never could. I just talked about it last week. I said, man, Clutch Sports, this is something that was good for them. We done with the 90s. I can't link them to saying that they initiated it. But now I can link him to saying that he enjoyed it very much. He literally said we done with the 90s on Game to Mind this morning. I'll probably do a whole episode on Game to Mind probably tomorrow. And I'll probably do a free agent show probably the day after that. Right. So look forward to that. But we're done with the 90s was supposed to attack his era. Right. Now you look at the top 6 rings. What are we talking about? Rings don't matter. Ring culture is not a real thing, right? Rings don't matter. So now they're attacking the rings. We already attacked the era. Now we're attacking the rings. Rings don't matter, right? Scoring. He feels like he has that in the bag. That's one thing you can't take away from MJ, but it's a heck of an argument to say, hey, man, I got the most points in NBA history and ain't nobody ever go break that record. So that takes down the scoring. He already said on his podcast, what is a bag? Bag don't matter. That's something that Michael Jordan had as well. He had a tool bag. He had heavy artillery in that tool bag, right? All of that. And then they attacked his defense by saying his defensive player of the year wasn't real and said they fabricated all his steals. And those are the things that they are trying to take down from his legacy. They need those things to be demolished. And then Kobe is also part of Michael Jordan's legacy because Kobe is a carbon copy of Michael Jordan. And they really need him out of the way to even have a debate with Jordan. Because how can we have a debate with Jordan if I'm not even better than his protege? So at all costs, any person that is a diehard LeBron or Clutch Sports type guy or girl, if you ever mention Kobe, look at the facial expression and look at the response. They are disgusted with Kobe's name. His name cannot. How can he possibly be in the conversation? You got to hear how they attack Kobe. Like Kobe has to be out of the way. This is a must. Like we would even accept defeat to Michael Jordan, but we cannot lose to Kobe Bryant in the conversation. They almost spit when they hear that name. So the attack on Kobe is going to be continuous. And that's what Clutch Sports is up to. Listen to how they talk about this T-Mac conversation.
Say it again.
The Tracy McGrady back there. Tracy led the league in scoring, getting triple and
better than him.
Quadruple team, but averaged 32. Like it was a thing, but that's what I'm saying. As the when you're the second option, like you're putting in the same amount of work, right? But you're not getting the same amount of love. And that's why I said, like, when you're talking about history and you're talking about, I seen someone throw a whole bunch of names, and I'm like, oh yeah, all them names you named, who talks about them? You think Scottie Pippen on the voters vote, the people who used to write for him and love on him, you think he feels good sitting at 32 when 31 has no rings? That's Allen Iverson. Number 29 has 0 ring. That's Chris Paul. Like, you think he feels good, like he's respected, sitting at 32, there's 2 people right next to him, no rings? And y'all saying rings matter? Come on, man.
So that's when you say, I'm sorry, Gil. And I don't know if Scottie Pippen feels that way about being at number 32 behind MVP of the league and Iverson. But even if he does, rings still matter. Right? They got that wrong. Maybe they got Scottie Pippen wrong, whatever. But at the end of the day, he's a number 2. We're not supposed to respect the number 2 the same way we respect the number 1. That's what Gil is ignoring, and he knows that. but that's what he's ignoring. Because if we got to respect the number 2's rings just as much as we respect the number 1's rings, then why the hell do they have different supermaxes? why didn't Scottie and Mike get the same exact contract? Why isn't Jalen Williams getting the same extension that SGA got? Why is Gilbert Arenas the only one on his team that got all the money that he got? Why didn't he go? Why Caron Butler didn't get the type of bag he got from the Wizards? Why aren't the franchises saying, "Oh man, we must pay the number 1 and the number 2 the exact same amount of money"? And then even the number 3 needs the same. Like what? Like it's a slippery slope. What do you draw the line at? If we're respecting the number 3 the same as we're respecting the number 1, how come it don't extend to money and contracts and endorsements and all of these things? It don't even extend to shots. One guy's getting 25 shots a game, the other one's getting 14. How do we make the decision who's getting 25 shots? How do we make the decision who's getting that huge contract? The same way we make the decisions on who we're going to give more credit to for that ring that we won.
Hey, stop.
You think that's how Jaylen Brown feel?
Rings does matter. So okay, so if rings matter, how can rings matter?
Right.
How does
right? Even though he still got it, it's still kind of like
he won. Right. He's gonna find. It still feel disrespect.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. If rings matter, then
he got
the heart.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He got the heart.
Can you tell us why Scottie Pippen is 32 with 6 rings, 7 All-NBAs, 7 All-Stars, 10 defensive player, and Allen Iverson's at 31?
Because Allen Iverson was a number 1 when he did his damage, got to the finals, led his team to the finals, won an MVP in the league. Scottie Pippen has never won an MVP, never led his team to the finals, and he's only been a number 1 year in his career. He did all that damage as a number 2. Great damage. But the number 1 must be respected more than the number 2. It is what it is. Right? That's why. Now, Nick Young is not the type of guy who's going to argue and go back and forth with you about something like that, because he knows that the main point is rings don't matter. And if I know rings do matter, nothing else you say after that really, now what really don't matter is what Gil is saying. Nothing you're saying matters, because the premise is rings matter. Your premise is rings don't matter. We know that that's false. Rings do matter. So why am I even having this conversation? Rings matter. Like if somebody came to you and told you, "Hey man, fathers don't matter in the household. All you need is the mother. Fathers don't matter." And if we know that's false, you need both of them. Why would you listen to an argument about anything? We got single moms that raise kids that went to Harvard, so that should prove that fathers are not needed. Why am I arguing it? Why would I even come back with data to say, well, what about the guys? What about the prison population? Most of the people in prison come from single mother households. You could go grab that data and argue that point, and then you go and it turns into a back and forth. But the best thing to do when you're arguing something dumb, like the sky is blue, why would I come back with data to prove that the sky is blue? Why am I trying to argue with someone and come with data to prove that rings matter? He's trying to tell us the rings don't matter. And I get it. He's trying his little slick little argument once he realized he was losing this whole thing for a week, because there's no reason for him. Like they said they was in the group chat still arguing this. They've already had 5 or 6 conversations on his podcast about this. He's went to his other channel to argue with Low, Legend of Winning, and got 8 up there. Right? He's going everywhere he can go. He's been on First Take. He's been on Twitter, Threads. He's going everywhere he can go to try to have this argument, because he is a losing argument and he's getting whooped everywhere he goes. So he continues to try to reinforce it. And now he's trying to take a slip out the back door and say, "Oh, this whole time I wasn't arguing that rings don't matter. I was just trying to show you that the media is wrong." The fuck out of here.
So if rings matter, because remember, who writes the rings matter.
When you put Kobe at not in the top 10, I don't respect that.
But again,
so that don't matter to me. So
see, that's it. You can't do that.
You can't, because I don't
that's
have.
the problem.
If you believe, so what they say
the
goes
problem
to
is you.
What they
what
say
I'm
goes
saying
to
is
you.
the people who are voting get paid.
We need something to
No,
go
what
off
I'm saying is if the people
I'm
are
not going
voting
off of Kobe's not in the top 10.
but if the people are voting, they get paid to do this job, and instead of looking at it, you automatically try to take away the conversation to answer the question by saying, I don't respect it. That doesn't get to the answer. I'm asking you to answer. How do you think a man with 6 rings sitting at 32, how do you think he feels if 31 and 29 has no rings?
It don't matter how you feel.
So when I say rings don't matter, I have examples. Because I can tell you this, what I did was this, how I came to the conclusion. I said, you know what, this don't make sense. There's something we're missing here. You know what, I'm taking away all rings. Fuck them.
There we go. This is what they really want to do. He's already done this. This is what they really want to do. Take away all rings to have this conversation.
All rings are gone. No one has rings. Let me just go to these people's accolades. Let's see who they are. So I wrote down everybody's accolades.
I'm not doing
Wait, dude. Everybody's accolades. So I wrote down everybody's accolades, right? To see if this makes sense. If you go in this order, MVP first, give it the most points.
This order is so strategic. MVPs first. So rings don't matter, but MVPs do. So let's put MVPs number 1. Not winning, not the reason why we're playing the game. Not winning. Rings. I mean, not rings, but MVPs. He's gonna put that number 1. Listen to how he do everything else.
Second, scoring titles. Third, first team All NBA, because that's top 5. Defensive player of the year. Second team All NBA. If you go like that across the board, you will get.
Notice he mentioned MVPs, scoring titles, first team All NBA, defensive player of the year. He got defensive player of the year, which is an award that means that you were the best defenders that year. He's got that behind first team All NBA. So MVP is number 1, but the other end of the ball, which is defensive player of the year, is like number 4 or number 5, right? The top award is MVP we should have an offensive player of the year award, and we should have an MVP. MVP should be top. Offensive player of the year should be next. Defensive player of the year should be right there on the same level. Then you go to the teams. First team All NBA, first team defense, and then second team All NBA, second team All defense, and then third team All NBA. Right? Then you can, I guess, scoring title. The scoring title ain't even really an award. There's no trophy. There's no award for scoring title. It just means you scored the most points. I don't think scoring title should be held that high if we're doing a point system, right? I don't think it should be. But it should be something that you consider, because that means that, man, this dude scores that well. But like you could like Bradley Beal got it on a losing team. You know what I mean? When T-Mac got it, his teams wasn't getting out of the first round. So like it's an award or it's an accomplishment, but I don't think it should be that high. He got scoring title above defensive player of the year. This dude is out. But guess what he left out? He didn't mention defensive first or second team, because he knows Kobe has about 15, 16 of those. Didn't even mention the defensive teams at all.
Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, that's how it would look. So when you say, why isn't Kobe in the top 10? He only has 1 MVP. Everybody in front of him has multiple MVPs.
But he's got about 15, 16 all defensive teams, which he left out. Man, this dude is slick, dog. He's slick. And Nick Young is not even thinking that way, because look, Nick Young don't waste the energy and the brain. I'm not saying he don't have the brain capacity, but he don't waste it trying to figure these little things out. And Kenya Martin and Jennings don't either. They just, you know what I mean? It sound good, but they're not. If you can't catch the fact that he didn't even mention first and second all defensive team, he didn't even mention it. If you don't catch that, like, hey, nah, you slick, dog. We know Kobe got 15, 16 all defensive teams. How you gonna leave that out?
You sound like a man that ain't won.
No, I'm talking
like a man that ain't won a ring.
I'm not talking from my.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not talking from.
I'm not.
Hold on. Look, I'm not talking from my opinion, dog. I'm saying this is what the research that I did said. I said I looked at the top 75 list. They have it in order from the writers. I said, all right, Clay not being in the top 75, and he got 3 rings at the time. 5 All-Stars, 2 All-NBAs. How is 75, no rings, 6 All-NBAs, and 6 All-Stars? Doesn't make sense. These rings should be able to put him in front of Dame. So I said, okay, remove it all, and then
Well, we know the only reason why Dame is in the top 75 was politics, right? So we know that who was supposed to be in the top 75 is Kyrie Irving. Now, what we can't prove, but that was documented in an article, was that the initial top 75 had Kyrie in it. And then when he went through that vaccination thing and didn't take the vax and all that stuff was going on, the NBA was pissed off at him. And the second list that came in didn't have him on it, and he was replaced with Dame. Right? So they threw Dame in there. It was recency bias on how Anthony Davis got in there over Dwight. They threw Dwight in there. They threw AD over there over Dwight. But Dame is only in there for politics. So that's really supposed to be Kyrie. I wouldn't even use that as the argument. We know Dame was a pawn in that game too.
Took a month, went through the research. The research says they respect MVPs first, scoring title second, all NBA first team first, defensive player of the year, then second team all NBA, because second team all NBA is top 10 in the NBA. And
that's the second time right there, Gil. I think I seen Young Disciple say that he did mention all defensive first and second teams. He didn't. That's the second time he said it. He said it again. MVP, scoring title, first and second all defensive team. Not defensive players, first and second all NBA team, and then defensive player of the year. He does not mention defensive first and second team. That's the second time he did it. There's no mention of the first and second team. So first and second team don't even matter. And we know that that's what Kobe has, multiple all defensive teams.
And when you go by that and put the points, I don't give a fuck if you go 10, 9, 8 on the points, you will come up with the top 75. The only thing that I found wrong was how, with the metrics that was there for everybody else, how is Oscar Robertson in front of Kobe? Now remember,
Yeah, Young Disciple, he's saying he went through the criteria of the top 75 and saying, how did they get this order? And he really looked at it and was like, oh, this is how, if this is the list that this is how I can justify how they came up with this list. But remember, the top 75 is voted on by a multitude of media members who have no criteria, or if they do have a criteria, it's totally different. They didn't get in one room and hash this out as a group of. They didn't do that. They didn't get in one room and say, "Hey, this is how we're looking at it, and this is the criteria." They didn't do that. This is Gil looking at the list and saying, "All right, I'm guessing that this is the only way. This is the only way I could get this list to make sense. They have to have it this way." He don't know how they was using it, right? So that's number one. Number two is, why is he going through 2 weeks of trouble on multiple platforms to drive this point home? Why is it so important? And it initially started from rings don't matter. Why is it important for him to go through this? Because he's trying to establish the point that he agrees with LeBron that rings don't matter, and he's using Kobe and all the second stars who got rings as pawns Oh, and also with the media, he's using them as his argument to support it, saying nobody's respecting them. Nobody's respecting rings, because the end result of once he established this, I don't know if you play chess or not, but this move that I'm showing you here is not the end of it. It's something coming behind it or around it, something that's disguised. You got to see the moves before they actually make the move. And he's doing all of this groundwork now, because the end move, the checkmate move, is going to be rings don't matter. But I got to get all of your guards down with all of this argument that I'm doing now. I have to beat you down with this before I can do checkmate. The checkmate move was already shown us by LeBron. Rings don't matter.
Number one stat is MVPs. Think about everybody else in the top 10. They got more than one. Scoring titles is next. That's why Jordan can never be passed, because he got damn near 8 more than everybody else. Right? So if you put, 200 points in on 100, however you want to do it, that scoring title, 10, there's nothing you can do about that. He can never be caught because of the metrics of that. Like, this is not the eye test. They're going off of the metrics. So when you say Scottie Pippen at 32, if you take away his rings, did he have a better career than Allen Iverson? No. Allen Iverson got 4 scoring titles, an MVP. No.
No, I get it.
So it's saying that, yeah, this is just a cherry on top.
Well, let's better career than.
Let's get back to talking about.
You said he does?
Yeah.
And once again, he's using the argument of number 2s and role players to support what he's trying to say. And the ring conversation and the ring count aren't for role players and number 2s. The ring count is really more beneficial to the guys who led the team as the number 1 to get those rings.
Yes. If you take away the rings, he has a better.
No.
Okay.
You can't take that. Come on, how you gonna take away something that?
I'm asking. Okay, see, you see, you have an opinion.
But it's crazy, bro. Let's just take away all rings.
So, answer the question. So if Scottie Pippen's at 32, how is Allen Iverson at 31?
So who opinion do you respect when it comes to somebody's top 5?
I can't, because every time we have who's the top 3 we always mention? Everybody outside of ESPN.
It's players. That's our eyes.
But you can't have them at 18. That shit don't make. All right, come on. Be right.
But that's the problem.
So
that's the problem where no one gets in.
So this is what it would be, Nick. Right. So this is what. Just hear me out. So if the players that played in the NBA did a list, Kobe would not be at 10.
Would not be at 10.
But that's the thing. They're not asking the players.
Well, some of the players contribute.
Some of the players vote too.
Some, but not the masses. Is not players, right? It's the square media and it's dudes that
don't like that.
That don't, but it's personal.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, it's just strictly stats.
I'm saying,
it's strictly stats.
It's personal.
But that metric, yes, if it's stats, yeah. But I'm just saying, for
Nick, I just told you the metrics. MVPs won. So if you want to put 100 points on MVPs. Look, what I'm saying is put 100 points on MVPs. What I'm saying is put 100 points on MVPs. Put 90 points on scoring titles. Put 80 points on first team. Put 70 points on defensive player of the year. Put 60 points on second team. And you start counting.
Gilbert is in front of Kobe. Gilbert is in front of Kobe now.
Swag. All right, I gotta stop y'all. We got a lot of NBA finals.
What I'm saying is how
Gilbert is top 10.
How?
Does he have here go the grand finale right here.
Like how does that go?
Defense player, he got everything.
Defensive player is 60 points. So he got 460 points. What is that?
He already got a point system for it too. He's already done this. The groundwork is already laid. This is chess, y'all.
I got to do with scoring titles. Scoring titles is 90 points each. That's 108. What are you talking about?
I feel like we're gonna talk about this all summer long.
But what I'm saying is we shouldn't just do the math yourself, and then you can do the math. You can stop asking. It's all accolades. It's individual accolades, and they should be told.
And rings don't count.
They should have told us before.
We don't play for the championship. Like,
no, we played for it. They tell us.
This wasn't shit. Why we don't?
See, this is why it's hard to have an educational conversation because you're using your emotions.
No, you said rings don't count. So what are we playing for?
The data says rings don't count. Because the rings count, sir.
We've been
How
doing
about
this
this?
We just playing the play.
What I'm saying is,
This shit has been going on since Friday.
Yo,
94.
did
Hold
you
on.
read my message?
93.
Do you see what I said?
This has been going on in the group chat for literally 72 hours.
Hold on. Because no one wants to have a real he wants to use his
300
emotion.
motherfuckers.
How am I
Use then answer the question with a
I can't
reasonable.
go without you saying rings don't count. If rings don't count,
Rings count. Rings count.
Fuck.
Rings
Let's
count.
be realistic.
Okay, so rings count. Then answer this. 1993. 1993. A man by the name of Michael Jordan has 3 rings. He was ranked the best player ever. He jumped Magic Johnson, who was number 1 before that, in front of. So Magic has 5 rings. Kareem has 6 rings at this time. Bill Russell has 11 rings. Can you tell us what an educated answer?
I'm gonna wait till McCann's time.
An educated answer.
I just wanna wait till
How
McCann's
did
time.
Michael Jordan get crowned the best player ever with only 3 rings?
Shit, I don't know. I'm gonna wait.
I'm just asking the question, man.
We gonna wait.
If rings matter, how did the guy who has the least
Rings don't matter.
become number 1?
Rings don't matter.
I'm just asking the question. This has nothing to do with your personal. I don't give a fuck about personal. I'm just asking.
play.
I'm looking at the data and saying, hey, he has 3 rings.
So you just play.
How is he in front of a guy who has 5, 6, and 11?
I can't tell you. We just play.
Oh, you can't? Yeah. I know you.
I just want to know what list we gonna go.
I know
on.
you
Yeah,
can't. I know you can't. I know you can't tell.
We'll talk list. We will talk list. I get the feeling. Y'all know I'm playing around. I can see the future. We will talk this well into the summer, into next season.
But we shouldn't.
We shouldn't. But let's talk right now about the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Okay, so he thought he snapped with that question. If rings matter, then how was Michael Jordan considered the GOAT when he only had was it 3 rings? When he only had 3 rings and the other guy had 5, and Bird had 4, right? And he's talking about Bird and Magic. Well, the answer to that is number 1, 3 rings versus 5 rings for a player that's head and shoulders above the other guys with 5 rings that still got probably 6 more years to play that you just seen 3-peat and stuff like that. You can kind of make that determination. I can respect that. Now, if he didn't ever reach 5 or 6 rings, you could always backpedal like T-Mac just backpedaled. Just like when everybody said Harold Miner was the next Michael Jordan, and then once you proved to us you're not, it was like, oh, we were wrong, right? Just like Caitlyn Clark, they said she was the best player the WNBA has ever seen, and then we seen it. Nope, she's not. My bad. We was wrong, right? Or like when we seen LeBron was like, oh shoot, this might be the Mets Michael Jordan. Then we seen the Dallas series was like, oh nope, we was wrong, right? So if someone dinged Michael Jordan the GOAT, and I think it was maybe an article he might be referring to, or somebody said he was the greatest of all time. If somebody considered him that at 3 rings where Magic had 5, they were doing it because he's obviously better than Magic, like head and shoulders obviously better than Magic, right? And had 3 rings, and they projected a little bit. But if they was wrong about it, if Michael Jordan pooped the bed the rest of his career, and just and didn't continue dominating like that, then you could have easily been like, nah, we was wrong. It ain't Mike. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But being that they did that a little early does not prove your point that rings don't matter. Rings matter. It's the only thing that matter. Definitely rings matter. Young Disciple said, bro, stop. 75 wasn't voted by the media. So when I this is what I was getting at. This is how people argue when they can't argue the real topic, right? Remember what I said about straw man, right? When you intentionally misrepresented proposition, right? That is set up because it is easier to defeat than an opponent's real argument. My real argument is not how they voted for the top 75. The real argument is rings matter. So instead of you coming with an educated conversation about rings either matter or don't matter, you want to create a straw man that you think I'm gonna argue with you about. But I can tell you that I did say that the media did not get in the room and decide on a criteria before they got voted for the top 75, right? Instead of you saying, yeah, you're right, they didn't have a criteria, they didn't all get in the room, they're not going out the same sheet of paper, they're not on the same sheet of music, or none of that. Instead of you saying that, you want to say, oh, the media didn't vote for it. The media, former players, and some executives all compiled this list, all voted. So he said, but the media was involved for sure. But your argument is that you like this is what make it hard to have conversations with people, is because they don't know how to disagree or do anything like that. Like, why would you even say that the media wasn't involved? They were involved. They weren't the only ones involved. They weren't the only ones involved. So I mean, and he was like, oh, it was mostly ball play. Who cares? The point is, they weren't all in the same room arguing the same criteria. That's the point. Learn how to argue or debate the point, not something else. Right. So I'm gonna open the phone lines up, y'all. I'm gonna open the phone lines up if I can find the phone number. Phone lines are open. Call in. It's scrolling on the bottom of the screen. All right, caller, can you hear me? Caller, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
All right, y'all put in the one in the chat if y'all can hear the caller. Go ahead, we're listening.
Number one, in my opinion, the list was wrong in the first place. The list is completely wrong. And number two, when it comes down to Mike and Kobe, they knew when Mike won his first three, there was nobody else in the league that could stop him from winning. Mike stopped himself. And if Jerry Krause would have had, we're going on hypotheticals, if Jerry Krause would have rode the train, we don't know how many championships the Bulls would have won in a row.
Mm.
Now, number two is back. Everybody knows if Mike and Kobe, Gold Chain Mike and Afro Kobe, would have kept the same mindset on score, and didn't calm them down and make them play the triangle basketball the way it was supposed to be played, what do you think Mike and Kobe would have did with their careers?
I mean, whatever they wanted to do.
I'm talking about as far as scoring, as far as all these stats and all this. But no, Phil changed their minds and made them play his game or the triangle where they had to slow down, like when Phil told Kobe, slow down, we losing the big fella. And Phil told Mike,
right,
work the triangle. If they would have kept that same mindset before Phil got to him, what do you think stats would look like? That's going off hypothetical. The same thing Gil doing.
The stats would have been crazy. They would have had less rings.
Right. So for Gil, at his point, when he sat down and made all this stuff up, all they had to say is, make the championship points worth 200. Got to set Gil up. Got to set Gil up.
It would have for sure, man. It would have, but this is the thing though. When you listen, when you have foolish conversations enough times, and you realize that like this is not a reasonable person using a reasonable argument, that that's when you disengage and like that. There's no point for me to actually really combat the stuff that you're saying with more data, because like you're coming from a dishonest place off top. Like, nobody wants to have a conversation with a person like that. So if Nick Young knows that.
I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get up let somebody else call. Gil is coming for Stephen A's job. If y'all can't tell that by the way he acts, his antics, the way he hollers and screams to get his point across, that's what he's doing.
Man, you know what?
Let him keep putting him on their show.
I can see that. You making a
Let him
daggone
keep
good point.
putting him on their show. That young man he knows what he's doing, and he's coming for Stephen A's job.
Yeah, you might be right, man. Thanks for the call, bro.
All right.
All right. All right, let's get another call in. Caller from Kansas City, what's up?
Yes, what's going on, man?
What's popping?
Hey, man, I just want to kind of share share my thoughts about how they Gilbert Arenas and how he's pushing the narrative.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah, man, I took time to watch Gilbert, and I think you called it out. Gilbert this is bigger than us, man. It's about him getting his clicks, him getting around, as we just was talked about. I mean, he want to be the next that one guy
Pat McAfee.
I didn't hear you.
Pat McAfee.
Yeah, he want to be one of them, and that's what he's doing. So he's saying any and everything that he can. So and I'm gonna tell you what I did a few times. When he be talking, I go and Google stuff he be saying. He be lying a lot. Like you said, he be slick.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't take Gilbert seriously anymore. And then I did want to touch on this, man. This all goes back to Kobe, man. You know, and I know Jordan, you got Jordan as GOAT, and I don't dispute Jordan being the GOAT if somebody mentioned that. This is what has me concerned or have my focus that Kobe's the GOAT in a lot of players' eyes and a lot of people's eyes undercover. Because that's why they always hating on that man for no good reason.
Yeah.
And when I look at Kobe, if you in my little group that I got, I have to show the young people that back in 2001, 2002, they was already saying Kobe was better than Jordan at that age.
Yeah.
And then by
that conversation was definitely had, even while he was on the team with Shaq.
Yes. So when you got that, so what the media did is they start, I'm not going to give you no MVPs. They started that mess. And then they start selling LeBron. Remember 2003 when LeBron came? They knew he was coming in the beginning. And they start setting up all this mess. And the hate started with Kobe because they skipped over him. So they disrespected the whole game by trying to skip over Kobe. So it's like this with me, and I just keep it simple. I don't think a lot of people watch Kobe because I know it's never talked about on your show when I listen to it, but I would like you to do a segment where we going back. It's a lot of people who from the East did not watch the Western Conference due to the fact how late the game started.
Yeah.
So they don't even know Kobe, and they out here just listening to anything as casual fans. So, and then lastly, I just wanted to tell you, man, thank you for having one of the realest shows around. I don't know what you need to do to blow up, but you tell too much of the truth to blow up for real.
Yeah.
So, but I want you to keep doing what you're doing. And it's so important that you do that because otherwise I start thinking, man, maybe I'm confused or I'm getting old because I'm going to give you this last thing before I get off. I apologize. I saw on Gilbert Arenas, Kmart say Kobe was never double teamed during their series, not even one time.
Insane.
And he said that. So what I did for my group, I went ahead and brought some highlights showing Kobe. They was getting soft doubles, hard doubles on Kobe when off their zone. This is what Kmart said. I was so hurt I ain't watched the show again because I never thought Kmart would go there. You know how real Kmart is, right?
Yeah.
He's the real deal. And that's how I know they at work, man.
But every player got their bias and they got their own delusion in their mind. Anytime Kobe and Shaq is mentioned, Kenyon Martin makes it his purpose to mention how dominant and how hard it was for people to stop Shaq.
Yes.
And he'll bring up that dunk against his team, Denver, when it was 4 guys trying to block Shaq's dunk, and he dunked it on all 4 of them. Right? He brings now that it's a good point. Shaq was dominant, but the bias in Kenyon Martin as a big man, he wants to drive the point home how dominant Shaq was, and I understand that. I get that. But he does it at Kobe's expense a lot. And a lot of times that they'll go to the extreme and they'll tell flat out untruths just so they can go with what their bias is. It's not a lot of people that's just straight down the middle that just go tell it like it is. And if you're going to have a bias, let your bias be toward either the truth, accuracy, or basketball in general. Like the best thing for basketball is for you to support real basketball. So like like when people have a bias toward the way we play now with 5-man out, high screen and roll, no post ups, none of that, no mid range, that's not in the best favor of basketball. So you have to be against it. Like that, you should be biased against that style of basketball because it's not 100% basketball.
And you correct. And I wanted to share this with you from listening to them. When you hear the little words, you got to watch their wordplay. When you hear the word fortunate or carried, that's their little terms that they use. And Kmart, all them, you fortunate. Every basketball player, and you ball, and that's another thing I like. Every basketball player has their situations. Things that we can see as fans and things we can't. It's how you handle your situation. That defines you, not just the situation itself. You have to overcome your situation at times. And so that's what they say about Kobe, that he got in this great situation and he was so blessed. And then what I did for my basketball group for this week, I'm showing them how he wasn't even the man in Orlando. He wasn't even the man. That's why he left.
Well, I'm gonna push back a little bit on that. He was the member. But let's not forget how good Penny was as well. But you're right, man. I think the point to take away from Orlando in his early years in LA is that he had a all-star level. Well, in Penny Hardaway, he had a superstar level guard, right? And Penny Hardaway, they did get to the finals. They couldn't get past Hakeem. He left Orlando. He had an all-star level guard in Eddie Johnson, not Eddie Johnson, but Eddie Jones, who wasn't as good as Penny.
Van Exel.
Yeah, he wasn't as good as Penny, but he was daggone good. And adding Van Exel, actually having both of those is like having Penny. So you got Van Exel and Eddie Jones, and you couldn't get it done with that. And it says something that it took Kobe to get implemented in that lineup with Phil Jackson unlocking both of those guys in the triangle for them to actually win. And when they started winning, they won a 3-peat level and went to 4 straight rings. So you can give Shaq all the credit you want, but we know before Kobe, Shaq he tried and he couldn't get it done. And with Kobe, they got 3 out of 4. So, but thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, bro, you keep doing what you do, man, and bring your friend back too.
No, he'll be back sometime next month, man. He travels for a living, so he was out here randomly, and I think he'll come back next month. He probably watching right now too.
Chemistry.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, great chemistry.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thanks.
All right, bro. Bye.
All right, yep. Caller from where you at? What is is that Alabama? Make sure you cut YouTube off in the background so I can't hear it.
No, I ain't from Alabama.
Oh, what's up? Where you calling from?
No, I'm calling from Chicago.
Okay, hey, can you cut the YouTube off in the background?
Yeah, I'm gonna cut it off.
All right.
What's up? Yeah, no, I was calling about the whole rings don't matter thing and Gilbert Arenas. He said a lot of weird shit out his mouth sometimes. I don't know if I can cuss on your podcast.
Go ahead.
But he said a lot of weird stuff out his mouth, and a lot of stuff he be saying, his son is a part of Clutch Sports. So just like Nick Wright is a part of Clutch Sports. But LeBron just be putting out narratives because he know he can't catch Mike. And it's real irritating that he just don't be a man about the situation. Bro, you failed, bro. Like, you made all these super teams and you still failed. You tried to take the helicopter up and you lost. And that's what happened. And you've been in the league this long and you still ain't accomplished the shit you're supposed to accomplish. And I just don't understand, like, and I'm gonna say this from my point of view. I honestly feel like he shouldn't even be in the GOAT debate at all, because nobody in NBA history has played with that much help and lost like that.
Preach.
Nobody.
Preach.
So it's just like, to me, for them to even say that Kobe is not better than him is stupid. Because I seen Kobe. I don't care about the whole field goal percentage. I watched Kobe, and I wasn't even a fan of Kobe when I started watching basketball. I was a big fan of KG, but when I seen Kobe destroy the Celtics, how he did, and he was all in a huddle and shit, I'm like, this nigga's a monster. Like, I don't know nobody who
you know what? You similar to me, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I followed Pippen to Portland, and I was rooting for Portland. I really enjoyed watching the Kings. I was rooting for the Kings. I was rooting for Boston. All 5 of Kobe's championships, I rooted against. I was definitely rooting for Detroit. I rooted against the Lakers and Kobe for all of his rings, all of them.
I did.
I've never rooted for Kobe. The only
me neither. I rooted for Sacramento to the Sacramento. Yeah, I rooted for the Kings too, because I wanted Chris Webber to get one.
Facts. Yep. I rooted for Iverson. I rooted for Iverson as the underdog. Like I never rooted for Shaq Kobe Lakers. Never. I never rooted for Kobe Gasol Lakers. I was going for Dwight Howard in Orlando, and I was going. You know what? No, I'm lying. I was rooting for the Lakers against Orlando, but I was rooting for Boston. So I only rooted for Kobe one time in his championships. And you similar to me, man. What I mean, you can't help but to respect him.
To say about the Shaq narrative, like how they try to say that, you know, he was Shaq, he was Shaq Batman. Well, really, it was like Batman and Superman. Right. But if you pay attention, Shaq went off to play with another superstar, and he won one with another superstar. He didn't go and mold nobody. Kobe sat here and molded Paul Gasol.
Facts.
And made Paul Gasol better than what he was.
Yeah.
And then he went to the finals 3 straight times. Shaq went one time, and that was it. And Shaq didn't do nothing else after that.
Nope.
So the
got out of shape.
Kobe, they poo-poo Kobe like Kobe wasn't the player of the decade. You can look that up. Kobe was the player of the decade from 2000 to 2009 or 2010. He was the player of the decade. It was all on
TNT. I remember. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
They posted that, but people act like Kobe wasn't that, and I think it's all due to Clutch Sports hating on Kobe, because everybody knows Kobe used to dog walk LeBron. He used to dog this man all the time. Like, he used to show him, like, especially at the All-Star game. Like, if you pay attention to the NBA, it's almost like they done catered the whole rule and system to fit LeBron's playing style, because he cannot play if the hole is clogged with centers.
And you know what, Chi-Town, you might be on to something with that. I think so we thought it was just for the Euros. We thought that play style was changed just for the Euros, but we got to look at the fact that it might have been catered around LeBron's strengths as well. And guess what? They about to do it again in the WNBA for Caitlyn Clark.
And that's crazy. I mean, they don't need to do that for that. And that girl that's coming out, I can't think of her name. It's a girl in college. She's going crazy. Wait till she get in there.
Juju.
But, another thing too, what I figured out about LeBron, because people love to talk about the stats and all that. The man never got in the gym to actually add skill to his craft, because he would have been super cold if he'd have added some skill to his shit. But what he mastered is he mastered the paperwork. He mastered how to pad his stats to give him an argument with anybody. That's what he did. Because you pay attention to, you watch the games, you look on paper, you would think you're watching the best nigga to ever touch the rock. And you watch this man play the game, and you'd be like, bro, who the fuck is like that? Because this ain't the same person.
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy to me, bro. And then they be trying to put him in the same category as Michael Jordan. Like, bro, Michael Jordan is the most complete basketball player ever. After him,
keyword
fucking Kobe.
After that is Kobe. Yeah, thanks for the call, man. And you said a word, man. That key word is complete. That's how I judge basketball player completeness. completeness. But thanks, man. Thanks for the call, Shout out. Yep.
Yep.
All right, y'all. Phone lines are closed. We move to our next topic, right? And it is Nico Harris, y'all. Nico Harris was 100% right. You know, are we done trying to badmouth and belittle this dude for his decision to trade Luka Vandross to the Lakers? And you know, we complaining about what package he returned back. When you really look at the situation, the package is continuous, because if they signed Luka Doncic to that supermax deal, they wouldn't have had any wiggle room to do much else. I don't even think they would have been able to re-sign Kyrie Irving, right? So imagine if, okay, we give Luka all this money, but now we have very little to give Kyrie. But if we do pay Kyrie and Luka, then we have no wiggle room for nothing else at all, right? So getting rid of Luka Doncic for AD did two things. They brought in a superstar that was going to be an all-time great defender for them at the rim, and also give you 25 to 30 points a game, right? So if we're losing 30 points from Luka and gaining 25 points from AD, but we're also losing a liability on defense from Luka and gaining an asset defensively at the rim and a deterrent in the paint, that's net positive, right? Everybody complained about, oh, you didn't get all these draft picks and all this. No, we want to win right now. The best thing that we got out of this situation was we didn't have to pay Luka what their agents was asking for or what he was owed, because we can't afford to pay him that and build a contender around him. Not with that many liabilities on defense, and then that many liabilities off the court as far as how he take care of himself, right? So that was good. You get AD back, you get another young player that defends and shoot the three in Christie, right? And then you still got your a number one option, or number 1A, 1B with Kyrie. And then we ended up getting the number one pick, and we got Cooper Flagg, who's also good on both ends. Very young, but good on both ends, that you get to plug in there. And then you add D'Lo, and then we re-sign Gafford. Lively comes back healthy. We still got PJ Washington. Like, this is an insane lineup they're putting together, right? And everyone who badmouthed Nico, including Mark Cuban, can do nothing but sing his praises right now. We're going to listen to what Avery Johnson said when he was asked about whether he would rather have Luka right now. And Avery Johnson used to coach the Dallas Mavericks, took them to the finals. Right. We about to listen to what he said about Luka and your boy Cooper Flagg.
Avery, would you still rather have Luka over Cooper Flagg?
Man, give me Cooper Flagg.
Really?
Cooper Flagg and this team, yeah, give me Cooper Flagg, man. This team is going to be tremendous once Kyrie Irving gets healthy. You still have Anthony Davis. When he gets healthy, they're going to re-sign Daniel Gafford. Obviously, there's been talk about Kyrie Irving re-signing. This team is going to be built to be one of the best two-way teams in the league, and they didn't have to really sacrifice any of their depth. They have some quality young players coming off that bench. Klay Thompson is a champion. You're talking about a team, when they're healthy, got 3 future Hall of Famers with Kyrie, AD, and Klay Thompson. So this is really exciting. The Mavericks, their future is bright, but they have a window when they're healthy of the next 2 to 3 years with this roster as currently constructed.
So he's absolutely right. So they got Cooper. Listen, Kyrie Irving he's going to be out. He had an ACL injury late in the season, so he might be out all the way to All-Star break. Right. So what they really needed to do after they got that lottery pick, that number 1 pick, knowing they was going to get Cooper Flagg, they really had to figure out, okay, what free agent are we going to bring in to run point for us that is good enough to keep the ship afloat, but not so good that he can't accept a role going back to the bench once Kyrie come back. But also good enough and got decent size on him enough to where I can play him and Kyrie together. So it was a perfect pickup for D'Angelo Russell for both of them. It works out for D'Lo. He's going to get half the season to be a starter. He's going to be playing with Anthony Davis, who he had very good chemistry with when they played with the Lakers together. I'm pretty sure Anthony Davis probably gave Nico Harrison an idea that, and I got his name, Nico Harris, on here. I apologize for that, but give Nico Harrison the idea of what D'Lo was like as a locker room guy, as a practice player, and what chemistry they had. So I'm pretty sure they looked at that. There's a lot of relationships going on in Dallas. Nico got a relationship and with ties to Nike with Kyrie. That helped them out for Kyrie to take a pay cut, not even a pay cut, but he took a hometown discount so they can have a little bit more wiggle room as far as salary cap and money to go get some free agents, which they did. They got D'Lo, right? So that relationship worked out good for them. Anthony Davis was coached by J. Kidd in the bubble when they won the championship ring. So J. Kidd had a relationship to be able to sign off on the Anthony Davis signing. And then you got D'Lo had a relationship with Anthony Davis. That it's connections all over the place, right? Cooper Flagg with the Duke ties to Kyrie. I mean, it's a wonderful thing that's going on over there. I forgot Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is still gonna be there. They got something going, and it wouldn't be possible if they didn't pull the trigger on that Luka Doncic trade, right? What did J. Kidd say about Cooper Flagg?
But just sitting here listening to him, is it incredible? I mean, we're talking about an 18-year-old who has all the right answers, and is talking about working out after this. But
I want to stop it there. He said, "Isn't it incredible how he talks?" And I'm pretty sure he didn't mean to throw no shade at Luka, but he said, "We just drafted him. We're doing a press conference, and we've already had conversations behind the scene, and he told me he was going to go work out after this press conference. You ain't got to worry about him getting fat and out of shape and coming back to training camp where you better see his belly button through his jersey. You ain't got to worry about that. He's going to be in shape. He's going to play defense. He's not going to hog the ball. He's coached by freaking Duke. They don't do ball hogs at Duke. They drafted a good kid, a good athlete, a good prospect. I don't care if he turns out to be a number one or not. He's gonna fit Dallas very well. The kid can ball. He don't need him to be a number one. They got 2 number ones there. He don't have to be a number one. He's in a great situation. But can he grow into a number one? Absolutely. And the way they're talking about he's working, he said, "I'm going to go work out of it." Who does that sound like? I'm not comparing the two. But these are the stories that we hear about Kobe. Like, "Oh, what y'all about to do after this?" "Oh, I'm going to the gym." You can't ask for a better player.
When you talk about his gift, he's a basketball player, and he's a winner. And I thought he answered the question about position perfectly, because I don't look at the position. I want to put him at the point guard. I want to make him uncomfortable. And see how he reacts, being able to run the show, being able to play the 2, play the 3. He's comfortable playing that, but we want to push. And I think he's going to respond in a positive way. It's all right to fail. It's all right to turn the ball over. We've talked about that. Just understanding the guys that I've been around that have been young, from Giannis, giving him the ball and he failed. But he wanted to come back and have the ball. So I'm excited about giving him the ball against the Lakers and see what happens. Let's get it started right off the bat. But I think just his poise, he's going to be successful for a long time. He likes to work. He's not afraid to work, and he comes from a great family. So I'm very blessed, and the Mavs are very blessed to have him a part of the family.
And people really thought that there was a chance that Kidd was going to leave this situation to go to New York to take that job. Come on, dog. Y'all just fired a dude that got y'all to the conference finals, man. Like whatever he was doing that y'all didn't like, leadership in the front office should have been able to tweak and peak that. Look, man, you running our guys into the ground, man. You got to play more of your bench. Okay. All right, got it. You know, that's you know, but letting him go and you ain't got no plan and you interview 5 coaches that already got jobs, that was insane. I hope Mike Brown gets that job, but yeah, they're very satisfied and happy to get the season started in Dallas. They're very happy with their pick. They're very happy with Cooper Flagg. And if you would have told them last year, hey, if you trade Luka, you're going to end up with Cooper Flagg, D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Davis, do you want to do it? Oh, and the draft pick in 2029, the first round in 2029. Do you want to do it? I think they would have said, yeah, that's better than paying this dude $400 million to come back to camp out of shape and not playing defense and forcing us to play an offense that don't get other people involved. They just stand around and wait for his pass. And then we got to pre-rotate. Y'all understand how disgusting it is for a team to have to pre-rotate to protect their best player. Like, your best player needs protection. That is insane. That's your best player. Your best player needs protection. You got to pre-rotate. That means everybody has to halfway rotate off their man. You can't be attached to no one your guard. Imagine having a guard, Steph, and you know he's running off screens and you got to stay attached to his body at all times. But guess what? I really can't, because whoever got the ball that Luka's guarding is always a threat to get a layup. Like, we got to pre-rotate off our man to make sure he don't get blown by and beat on every dribble penetration and we give up layups. Like, that's a tough game plan, dog. That's tough. Who else talked about him? Nico. What do you think, Nico?
Your relationship with the fans after everything this past season?
Yeah, I think so. I think it will help. Most importantly, I think it just, we're in win now mode and we have a really good team, and Cooper adds to that. So I think the fans finally start to see the vision.
Remember the Dwight Powell.
So, Nico, the fans are finally starting to see the vision. I told y'all, just wait. Nico was looking at the situation with the ownership, man. Look, we can't pay this dude this and contend. Like, we just can't. Like, it's too much stuff we have to do to help him on defense, and we get locked into a certain style of offense that's really not conducive. It's already hard to win that way. Then he's showing up out of shape all the time, and the longer he comes and plays out of shape at that weight, the more injury he's going to have. Like, this is not sustainable. We just can't give him all that money. We got a better option. Let's do it a different way. And I hope the fans are seeing the vision. They don't want to peel back and walk back and be like, all right, we're Mavs fans again. They don't want to do that yet because they still hurt about losing Luka. But I like what they got moving forward. Here's the big one, because Mark Cuban said, I don't know what's going on, right? I never would have traded Luka. He didn't have a lot of good things to say about the Mavs front office and Nico after it was done. But now he's even changed his tune. I guess this show is just based on people that want to be Deion Primetime Sanders, man, because everybody's backpedaling. What did Mark Cuban say?
Trade, right? Those things happen, but that was then. This is now. And the good news is when you can put together a team that, and the front office has done a great job of putting together a team where we can compete, right? And a couple breaks here and there. Kyrie comes back. Cooper is who we expect him to be. And we can have a really, really good team. And where I'll really give Nico and the front office credit is you look at a lot of teams right now, and they're blowing up their teams. They're dropping bombs on their team because of the second apron. I mean, we've got our guys locked up, and with the way the cap's going to move, we should be in really good shape. And, Nico and Kyrie have had a strong enough relationship that, they were able to work together to give us a little wiggle room to have somebody to fit in when Kyrie is out. And so, for all the hell that Nico's got, he's done a great job putting us in a really good position.
Nico has, for all the hell he's gotten, he's done a great job of putting us in a great position. So you're on one hand, you got Luka, you got this supermax contract that he was eligible for, with all the liabilities that come with him on and off the court, and you may or may not be a contender with him getting supermax, but definitely you're gonna reach that second apron and be playing crazy luxury tax money. Like that second apron was going to destroy this organization just because they wanted to pay him that money and keep him. Right? You see all these other teams running from the second apron. Boston. Oh man, if you're gonna overpay and you don't win, it's almost like you gotta sell. You gotta sell everything, which is what Boston is doing. All right, we was over. We didn't win. Everything must go. Porzingis, Drew Holiday. Now they're looking at maybe Brown. They didn't re-sign Horford. Like everything is boom. Sell everything. Get low. Get under that second apron, right? Right. Everybody's doing it. The owners are selling their teams. Man, look like we about to reach that second apron. I ain't about to pay that extra tax money. I'm out. I'm selling. You can have my majority share, right? People get it. Lakers just sold. Right, hitting that second apron. If you're not going to win, there's no point in hitting that second apron. Like with baseball, when the Yankees used to pay and get all these players, and they would pay extra because they was going to make their money back. But them teams that they was paying was winning. If you're not going to win, ain't no need for you to be in the second apron or nowhere near it, right? So, Dallas was like, dude, we can pay Luka and keep him, but are we going to win like this? Because we definitely go be in that second apron, right? Right. So are we gonna and Nico and the ownership was like, nah, we don't want to be there. Is there any other way? Yes, we can trade Luka, and then we can pivot and get more assets that we can still be competitive. Like they're probably more competitive now than they were with Luka, especially if they would have kept Luka and lost some of the pieces they couldn't re-sign. They probably would have kept Kyrie, but it would have been it. Two-headed monster. With a very skeleton-like crew around them as a team, as supporting cast, which is Kyrie tried that in Brooklyn with KD. Hey, let's pay 3 guys max. Let's get 3 max guys on one team, and then let's get a skeleton crew around them. It was very tough. Their third best player might have been Bruce Brown. Well, not third best, but their fourth best after James Harden. Might have been Bruce Brown. Or Joe Harris or somebody like that. That ain't getting it done. So now they're praising Nico. Oh man, you made it. You saved us money, and we got a better team. Executive of the year. Executive of the year, y'all. Executive of the year, man. But that's my thought. I'm not even gonna open the phone lines on that one. But somebody did ask in the comment section about some of the free agent stuff, which I'm going to do a free agent show tomorrow or either the day after tomorrow. But I can speak on the question that was in the chat. He asked me what I think about Cam Johnson and the Michael Porter Jr. trade and what Denver is doing. Let me check how many likes we got. We got 294 people watching, only 175 likes. Can we get to 250 likes? Everybody right now, stop what you're doing, hit the like button. I continue to talk as long as I see the likes going up, but we got to get to 250, y'all. So hit the like button. But what I think about that Denver trade, they're doing the same thing. They're trying to dump salary, right? Cam Johnson makes 17 million less on the full contract than Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. had a big contract, right? So it's a lateral move, but it saves them money. 17 mil, in fact, right? So the reason why it's lateral is because in the offense, in the system they have in Denver, it doesn't matter how much better of a player or how much capability Michael Porter Jr. had more than what Cam Johnson has, because Michael Porter Jr. is definitely a better player than Cam Johnson with more ability, more versatility, and all of the above. Here's the difference. It don't matter what Michael Porter Jr. Skill set is. They're only using him for his shooting. So all the ball handling he can do, all the dribbling to the rim to get his shot, all the shot creation, all the post ups, all of that extra stuff in his game does not matter. We're not even using that. So why are we paying you to be anything other than just a shooter? And with Cam Johnson, I ain't gonna say he's just a shooter because he's such a high IQ player, smart, and he showed us that he was a good defender in Phoenix at a very young age. He can defend as well. He's smaller than Michael Porter Jr. and Michael Porter Jr. is 6'11", so he helped on the glass as well. He also helped on weak side rim protection, because a lot of times when they pull Jokic out for the high screen and roll, that's just 7-footer. He's not a rim protector anyway. But when you pull him out of the paint to defend a high screen and roll, the low man usually is the guy that ends up rotating to protect the rim. And a lot of times that was either Aaron Gordon, who's a high flyer at 6'9". So he's a rim protector. He's a better shot blocker than Michael Porter Jr., but Michael Porter Jr. was very capable as a 6'11" guy, just like Kevin Durant was at rotating and protecting the rim on as a help defender, right? So you lose that, but I think Cam Johnson defends the perimeter better than Michael Porter Jr. He can defend a little bit better as a so it's different on the defensive end, but it's very similar on the offensive end, because if all he's going to do is catch and shoot, he might be a better catch and shooter. I think it's very close, but Michael Porter Jr. is a scorer that can shoot very well, kind of like Devin Booker is a scorer that can shoot very well. Cam Johnson is a shooter, like Kyle Korver. He's a sharpshooter, but Michael Porter Jr. is a sharpshooter as well, but he has a scorer's mentality. So it actually is is more of a effort for him to just say, I'm just going to be a shooter, because he has a scorer's mentality. Sometimes he want to score as well. So when you're a scorer and got a scorer mentality, sometimes you need different things to get you going. Like sometimes I need the ball to be able to make a move and do something. Kyle Korver and shooters, Steve Kerr, people like that, they don't need that. I've been catching and shooting my whole life. I'm so good at it, and it's natural for me. I fit in that natural habitat very well, right? So I think they really just replaced Michael Porter Jr. with another shooter, and that's all they was using Michael Porter Jr. for anyway, right? So that's one thing. A lot of people in Denver are excited about it. I'm like, what are you excited about? It's the same roster. You got rid of one shooter for another shooter. You lost height and size, but you got another shooter. The same system is going to operate. So whatever we've seen from Denver this year is going to be very similar, right? Then you look at their bench. They got Bruce Brown back 3 years later after he was very instrumental for your championship win. But this is 3 years later. We ain't even seen him make lineups for the teams that he was on. But he fits very well in that Denver system, right? In that Denver system, he got a lot of slashes to the paint. Right. So when they lost Bruce Brown and they had a void with what he did for a year, the next summer they went and got Westbrook. And I think as soon as they got Westbrook, I did a show and I was like, I think that this is a Bruce Brown replacement. They're going to use him like they use Bruce Brown to slash. And every now and then you got to hit the jump shot as well, the 3-point or whatever. So Westbrook was that was like, man, we won when we had Bruce Brown. Can we get another Bruce Brown? Well, we can get you a Hall of Famer that can do the same thing Bruce Brown did. You know, Bruce Brown was a 6'6" guy that played and guarded 1, 2, 3, and sometimes 4. He rebounded like he was a big forward. He got down there and rebounded. He did a lot, all that stuff that Westbrook did. Right. Except Westbrook could play some point guard when they needed it to. So Bruce Brown was replaced by Westbrook. Now they got Bruce Brown back because they want to see if they can reinvent the magic that he had in their offense. So we'll see if they let Westbrook go. The rumor is that Westbrook's going to stay. So they pretty much replaced Westbrook with Bruce Brown. And then Dario Saric, who was a big that they were not playing, which I think that he would have helped because he has some of the same abilities that Jokic has. Not as good as Jokic, but he can pass, he can shoot and stretch the floor, and he can post up as well. So I think that a lot of times we talk about the Jokic minutes when he's on the bench and how the team kind of suffers. They always bring DeAndre Jordan in to replace Jokic. I thought a lot of times it would have been good for Dario Saric to get in with some of his abilities. So they really use him, but they just traded him for Valanciunas from Sacramento. Valanciunas is not as good as Zubac with the Clippers, but they got similar build-up. And I don't know how much minute he's going to get spelling Jokic. So I don't know. Like, those were their three big pickups. A trade for Valanciunas, a trade for Cam Johnson, and picking up Bruce Brown. I guess that's good. I don't know. Good luck. I guess. Good luck, Denver fans. I think if y'all think this is dope, thumbs up, man. I want to hear from Denver fans that y'all accept this, and this is to your liking. Because I kept hearing that y'all need an all-star. I mean, get Jokic an all-star, get Jokic an all-star, get Jokic an all-star. Well, y'all don't have an all-star, but I'm seeing on social media thumbs up from the Denver players. Oh man, we killed free agency. All right, got it. Because I don't want to hear your mouth midway during the season when y'all not playing as well and y'all saying Jokic ain't never had an all-star, and that's why. So give me the thumbs up now or give me the thumbs down. But whatever you give me, you got to be consistent throughout the season, regardless of what the records say. All right, that's what I need. All right, let's see where we're at with the likes. We hit 204. I like that. Let's see. I'm still trying to get to 250, y'all. Let's get to 250. All right. Did I miss some super chats? My man Morris said he also said 90s games are hard to watch. Yeah, he did. Would like to see Quincy Olivera on the Mavericks. You know what? That's not bad. I like to see that too. I definitely like to see that. I'm gonna open the phone lines up for the last topic when we get back on LeBron, y'all. I do want to give y'all some quick updates though, because WNBA is hey, look, man. I don't know if y'all watching or not, but y'all need to be watching for sure, right? WNBA is picking up, so I'm gonna give y'all quick updates on what's going on, right. Well, first of all, tonight is the Captain's Cup, their version of the in-season tournament. The championship game is tonight, and that's with the Minnesota Lynx, led by Nafisa Collier, who's the lead for the MVP candidate, averaging 24 points a game, 25 points a game. She's killing it. They only lost 2 games all season, so they 12-2, something like that, right? So they're in the championship versus the Indiana Fever, led by Caitlyn Clark. We're all familiar who Caitlyn Clark is, and she's missed the last 2 games. She missed. I think she missed some games in the middle of the season due to a hamstring, and then she came back, had a really good game, and then she had like 3 or 4 straight bad games, and then that last game she had a bad game. They said she injured her groin, and you know how it is with lower extremities, and your body started to overcompensate in other areas. So I think it was the same leg that she had the hamstring issue on. Now it's groin, right? So she's missed the last 2 games, but they had already solidified themselves in the championship game for the Captain's Cup. So they're playing tonight versus the Lynx, and I think Caitlyn Clark has just been ruled out as of this morning. She won't be playing in that game, right? So right now they're 8-8, and I can show y'all the standings now, but. If you can look at it, 14-2 is the Minnesota Lynx. They're undefeated at home, 8-0, right? So then you got the Phoenix Mercury. That team is so complete. I mean, they got a girl named Satu Sabali. She's got a sister. I don't know if they're twins or not, but they look alike, but they got different builds. They both are big. One's a center for sure. The other one's a power forward. That, bro, I'm telling you, this girl. She can shoot it. She can dribble like a guard. She passes like a guard. She plays defense. She posts up. This girl has got it all. I'm telling you, you have to go and look at Satu. This girl can hoop, man. And she's not even the main leader on their team. They got What's my girl? I think she played for dang, what did she play at last year? But anyway, she's a point forward. Alyssa Thomas. She's a point forward, but she's really tough, man. She's like, like a Draymond Green. Like she'll tackle you, she'll throw you. She's the girl who slammed last year. Angel Reese slammed her to the ground out of midair, just threw on her back. Like this girl is tough, man. But she plays like point forward, like an Anthony Mason, man. And she's she's the league in assists. She's averaging almost 10 assists a game as a power forward. She plays really good defense. She scores it maybe 12 to 13 points a game. She get about 10 rebounds a game. So she's almost averaging a triple-double. Right? This girl can play. And then they got like all these other shooters. That's insane. And DeWanna Barner just got waived from the Fever, and she might be joining the Phoenix Mercury. In the league right now, but then New York Liberty, they've been losing games lately, right? 5 out of their last 10, and they started out really hot, but they don't have their. They won the finals last year, and their finals MVP is Joquel Jones, who's a center that can shoot the three and post up, play defense, block shots. She's out, and they've been losing games, but they got Ionescu and Breanna Stewart. They should be able to hold it together better than what they're doing. And they also got a girl, I think, that's playing overseas because she's playing in her hometown league. That's what happened with the WNBA. It coincides with some of the leagues overseas, and some of the girls that they got that are foreigners will leave the team to finish the season out over there. And then they'll come back to the team around All-Star break, right? So they got another player that's they'll be expecting back. So they're missing some pieces. They're trying to hold it together. But right now they're not the favorites, man, because Phoenix and Minnesota are outplaying them. Then you got Atlanta Dream led by Alicia Gray. This her third year being an All-Star, but she's an All-Star starter for the first time this year. Alicia Gray is killing it. Seattle Storm is tricky. They got a really, really good defensive team led by Gabby Williams, who she played for France and almost beat Team USA by herself. Like, she was unreal. So she played so well, her contract couldn't come. I mean, people was tweeting her before this Olympics was even over, asking her to come back to the States and play for them, right? So Angel Reese was one of them, right? But so she came back and got her job in the contract, and she had 8 steals one game. Like, she's leading the league in steals by far. But it ain't just steals. Like, she's getting blocks, rebounds, and she's locking people up. Like, you're not going to have a good night if she's guarding. She's long like a forward, but she moves and plays like a guard. Muscular. Like, this girl is built, man. And then, but then you got Skylar Diggins, who's a elite scorer at guard. And then you got Agumake, who's their all-star. Right, so they pretty good, but I've seen them play where they were clicking on all cylinders when their defense was just ferocious and their scoring was good. But then I seen them also play where nothing was going right. So they got a little identity crisis of they want to be a contender or not, right? And then surprisingly, the next 2 teams that are surprising at 6 and 7 is the expansion team, Golden State Valkyries. I don't know how they're playing so well as an expansion team. Kate Martin plays for them, which was Caitlyn Clark's teammate at Iowa, who played for the Aces last year. She's instrumental in that team. I loved her for the Aces, but she couldn't get minutes on the Aces. And Aces is right behind them, struggling. Like, they got a new player. They got rid of Kelsey Plum, and they replaced her with Jewel Lloyd. And Jewel Lloyd is like they got 3 players on that team that was all on the Olympics: Jackie Young, Jewel Lloyd, and the reigning MVP, Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson misses some games for a concussion. They're trying to figure out how to work Jewel Lloyd into the system, and they lost Kelsey Plum, so they're trying to find a new way they're playing. They just made a big trade for I can't remember the power forward that used to play for the Fever last year. but she just got traded to them, so she should help. But right now they're struggling playing 500 basketball, and then the Fever is right after them playing 500 basketball as well. We know Caitlyn Clark has missed some games, and just down at the bottom you got Chicago Sky. They're playing a little bit better now. They got to a slow start, and then the Dallas Wings, led by Paige Beckers, who might be the best guard in the league. Right, so that's what's going on with the WNBA right now. They just retired Candace Parker's jersey with the LA Sparks. Her number 3 is in the rafters. They did it on the night they played the Chicago Sky. Angel Reese came out and showed out in front of Lisa Leslie, had 24 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, and a win. Showing out in front of somebody I'm pretty sure she idolizes, right? But she also won a championship with the Sky. Candace Parker did. So I thought it was fitting that a game where she won a championship with the Sparks and the Sky, and the day they retired her jersey was the day that they played. I thought that was good and fitting. What else we got going on in the league? Caitlyn Clark has won 1.2, almost 1.3 million votes for the All-Star, which is the most in WNBA history. That was a big deal. What else? She was named captain of the All-Star. They're going to do it, the All-Star this year. This is the first time they're doing it the way the NBA did it, when the top vote getters are picking their teams for the All-Star, right? So it's going to be Nafisa Collier, who's the MVP candidate, and Caitlyn Clark. I think Caitlyn had about 1.3, and Nafisa Collier had about 1.1. Right, so they're the top vote getters. I thought that was dope. Reese hit a record as well, 4 straight games with 15 plus rebounds. That's a record. She's killing it with double doubles for a career. Like, it's a lot of stuff going on. And Paige Beckers is hooping, right? Like I said, she's looking like the best guard in the league. So those are all the things that are going on, right? So let's get into some other things. Let me see some of these comments first, though. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Oh yeah, you're right. And Candace Parker is from Chicago, so that's real dope. Yeah, so yeah, I like that. Let's see what else we got in the comments. Oh yeah, thanks, Jay. And the expansion teams, they announced this week that they got 3 new expansion teams. Detroit Shock is one of them. I was just talking last week about how I missed the Detroit Shock team, and they played like the Detroit Pistons. That was crazy, but it was coached by Bill Laimbeer and Rick Mahorn, so of course that was gonna play like the Detroit Pistons, right? So Detroit Shock is coming back, and 2 other teams as well. So I really think that's dope, man. A lot of stuff going on in the WNBA. But we go get into some of the other stories, man, because y'all go really like this, man. Y'all really go like this. All right. So let me make sure I cover everything. And for everyone that's saying that, the fact that Caitlyn Clark got the most votes for the All-Star, like they're really celebrating that. But popularity is one thing. She's very popular. But this reminds me of when Yao Ming, he used to always get the most votes every year as well. You know what I mean? So and I hate that the NBA changed the voting system, because I think they changed it because him being in the West in Houston and Shaq being in the West in LA, I think Shaq got pissed off that Yao Ming was voted in as a starter every year and he wasn't. So they changed it. They really changed it so they can discriminate against Yao Ming. And I don't think the WNBA should ever change how they're doing it. If she's gonna get voted in based on popularity mostly, that's fine. Don't change the voting system and make it look like you're being discriminative, right? Yeah, she's always gonna have the most votes. She's got the most fans. She's always gonna have the most votes, but it's more similar to Yao Ming than it is Jordan, right? She's not getting the most votes because we ain't never seen a player this good. She's getting that most votes because is a good player. There's an all-star caliber player that has huge popularity, and that's what's going on with these votes, right? It's not the other, right? So, but since we're talking about Caitlyn Clark, let's go ahead and get into it, because I'm going around the internet and I see this interview from a reporter named Christine Brennan. And I couldn't believe my ears on some of the stuff she was saying. First of all, she's writing a book. And this book that she's writing, well, actually, she already wrote the book. It's done. It's coming out next month. You can pre-order it now. But it's all about Caitlyn Clark. So she interviewed so many people, did so many, she even interviewed Caitlyn Clark. So she done extensive research for this book. But the premise is basically based on all the nonsense that we was hearing around the WNBA last year, that all the females are jealous, the WNBA don't know how to handle this superstar. And all of these type of things they're saying. And she even suggested that Caitlyn Clark should leave the WNBA and start her own league, so that league can cater to her better than the way the WNBA is catering to her. This is what we're dealing with this type of fan base. They're serious about this, right? So let's go through this interview. There's a whole bunch of things she said. Let's go through this interview and let's dissect it.
I am a big, like most red-blooded Americans, I'm a big Caitlyn Clark fan. I compare what she is to when Tiger Woods broke onto the golf scene, or
Magic,
when Michael Jordan took off in the NBA. She's a one-person beacon. Like people are drawn to her. The thing I don't get, Christine, is that in the case of Tiger and in the case of Jordan, the other players and the league around them, in Tiger's case, the PGA Tour, realized that a rising tide raises all boats and were incredibly supportive of Tiger and Jordan. With Caitlyn, it seems like, for whatever reason, she's polarizing. Like she's been hit with more flagrant fouls than any player ever this year. They tried to come at you when you were writing a story and said, don't ask questions about why people don't like Caitlyn Clark. But I'm going to ask you, Christine, why is she polarizing in your opinion? Why do people not embrace the phenomenon that is Caitlyn Clark?
All right, I'm going to stop it there because he said some stuff that I got to address before Christine start talking. We've got to stop comparing what we're seeing in the WNBA with Caitlyn Clark to Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan, right? We've got to stop comparing what we're seeing with Angel Reese and Caitlyn Clark to Magic and Bird. It's not that, right? Let's address the Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan thing. He first said that Caitlyn Clark reminds me of Tiger Woods when he joined the PGA as a professional, right? Here's the difference. Man, I don't want to do this, man, because I really like Caitlyn Clark, man. It's really her fans. Caitlyn Clark. All right, so Tiger Woods, before Tiger Woods got hurt and went through that stuff with his wife and all that stuff, he automatically, by how good he was, he automatically was the best golfer that we've ever seen. And it was an argument whether, the greats like, what's the other? Well, I can't even remember the other greats, right? Because I'm not a golf fan. I'm forgetting the names. But it's 2 or 3 guys that's up there. Y'all can say their names in the chat. It's 2 or 3 guys that was up there. Tiger Woods automatically was up there. The difference between Tiger and Caitlyn is not automatically in the discussion with the greats. She's not up there with Myra Moore. Jack Nicklaus, and is one more. I don't want to say Phil. I don't think it's Phil Middleton. I don't think it's Arnold Palmer, but it's Jack, and it's one more. I can't remember. It might be Phil. It might be Phil Mickelson and Jack Nicklaus. It might be both of those guys. But yeah, Tiger was already up there. They tried to put Caitlyn up there, but what happened is people like Dinah Taurasi, people like Cheryl Swoops, people like Gino Auriemma and UConn, all of these former players and coaches was looking like, no, I can, I'm like, what she's doing is phenomenal. She can ball. She's the best player in college right now. But I'm telling you, just from experience, she's not better than these girls in the WNBA. I'm telling you, she's not better than them. But just by saying that, you sounded like a hater. Like you couldn't admit that and just say, no, she's not that good. Tiger Woods was hands down that good already. The reason is because they're all playing the same course. It's not a team game. Nothing, anything that goes wrong is your fault. Either you can hit the ball and get it in the green or get it in the hole, or you can't. Phil is playing the same golf course I'm playing. So my shot or my handicap or whatever, however you do that in golf, whatever that number is, tells me how good I am. But your stats in basketball don't necessarily tell you that. Because when you evaluate a player, when you look at a Paige Beckers that played at UConn and you look at a girl that played at Iowa, and you look at the UConn team and see, oh man, they got five stars in their starting lineup. Coached by a coach that's not going to let you take over the game and just play me basketball. Versus a player that's playing at Iowa where they're saying, look, man, we lucky to have you, man. You a 5-star, but we don't even have another 3-star on this team. It's just a 5-star with some 2 stars, like what Steph did at Davidson. Like when you see that and you see their numbers are inflated because they're not being held back. They're saying, go out there and do whatever the hell you want to do. However you play on the playground, at rec, whatever, like do what you want to do. We're going to cater the offense around for you to take 30 shots a game. You can even take logo threes. I don't care what you shoot the ball for. Just go out there and have fun. Do your thing. Do all of that versus a player that's getting coached. What happens when you go to a big program, you're playing against other great players and you're playing with a great coach that's going to coach all the nonsense out of you because they're coaching you to be ready for the next level. They coached Caitlyn to get whatever stat she wanted in college. They coached Paige to be ready for the next level. Like, nope, you're not taking that logo 3. No, you're not taking 30 shots a game. No, you're not about to be the point guard and the primary scorer at the same time. No, we are going in the post. No, we're not about to play 5-man out so you can shoot. No, you're getting coached. I'm going to coach you, and all of the bad stuff in your game, we're going to purge it out. So when you get to the league, you won't be averaging 6 turnovers a game. You won't be unable to play without the ball. You won't get stagnant from us just forcing you to the right. You won't crumble with physical defense. So it's a difference on how you make one player versus how you make the other. And what we're seeing right now in the NBA is all the flaws that Caitlyn has is getting put on the stage for all to see. And the fans and the media are saying, well, that's jealousy. The only reason why you guarding her like that because you're jealous of her. She's not ready. I mean, she's ready because she's really good, but she's not ready to be what y'all want her to be. Y'all want her to be the best player that women's basketball have ever seen, and she's not that. And she's getting the attention like she's the best player, but she's not. And that gap between where she's at now and being the best player, in between that gap is all the players that's playing great defense and competing against her. And the media and her fans are blaming the people that's stopping her from getting to being the best player ever. They want all the obstacles in front of her to get out of the way, whether it's the NBA, the WNBA, or the competitors against her. They want all of that removed out of the way so she can have a free path to being the best player ever. And what they're telling the females is that if she's the best player ever, you're going to get more eyes watching you. So why are you standing in the way from her getting to what you call her destiny? They're saying remove every obstacle out of the way because we're watching for Caitlyn. But we're not going to continue to watch very long if we can't see Caitlyn do I'm the best stuff, I'm the best girl ever type things. Right? So listen to this whole conversation.
It's one of the big points in the book. I deal with all of this, and my research and reporting because I was perplexed as well. I mean, this is the greatest moment ever for the WNBA.
Yep.
We wish it happened sooner. Of course, we wish it happened sooner. There were amazing players who, as you know, Ramona, I mean, both you guys know, were toiling in obscurity, the male-dominated mainstream sports media ignoring them. Okay, this is the moment. Here comes this kid. Now, it is a 74% black league, and I deal with this whole, there's a chapter called The League of Their Own. I deal with every part of this in the book, which, by the way, is about 95% Caitlyn Clark magic, but also journalistic, unauthorized. Here comes a white woman from Iowa, and she's going to be the biggest superstar. Now, absolutely, the spotlight's shining on her. Finally, it's shining on all these other players who deserved it for years but never got it. And that's a wonderful turn of events. But instead of focusing on the positives, sadly, the WNBA players, so many of them, not all, but quite a few, and certainly like Dejanay Carrington and others, have focused on the negative. And I don't know, but what I do know is that they couldn't even get their story straight.
Yeah.
So her argument to the question of why aren't the players allowing her to reach her destiny like Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan was able to, right? And I already told you, Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan, what they said they were, they actually were. And the difference with Caitlyn is what they're saying she is, she's not. Right. So to make the comparison of the greatest of all time in basketball and the greatest of all time in golf, or arguably the greatest of all time in golf, they actually very quickly was able to show that they were that. Like there was no time where Tiger or Michael got in the league and it was like, oh, well, they don't look like. No, it was like immediately they got there and oh no, this is the best we've seen. We haven't seen anything better than that. Caitlyn got in the league and it was like, she don't look like the best, but the only reason why she don't look like the best is because y'all keep playing defense on her. Why are y'all jealous of her? Why are y'all playing her tough defense? Why are y'all picking her up 94 feet? Why is she getting double teamed like that? That's the only reason why she's not looking like the best. That's why she's not averaging 30. Like Michael Jordan immediately came in and was unstoppable. He didn't win right away, but him as a player didn't struggle. His team struggled, but him as a player didn't struggle. He didn't average 6 turnovers a game. The defense that the Detroit Pistons was playing on Michael Jordan didn't stop him from getting 30. It just stopped him from winning. He took those bumps and bruises. His body was ready for it. His teammates weren't quite ready. And of course, he had to get stronger. Right? So there's a big difference between Caitlyn and Tiger and Mike. They can't make that comparison. But here she is making the point that these girls is a 74% black league, and here comes this white woman from Iowa, and they wasn't ready for a white woman to be the best at the league. And that's why they're playing defense on her. They're competitors. Ever since they played this game for the first time, they were taught to compete. And now you asking them to make business decisions while on the court by saying, well, maybe you shouldn't compete against Caitlyn because Caitlyn is going to bring more eyes to your sport. So how about cutting her some slack so you can get more eyes? Don't compete against her. Compete against everybody else, but don't compete against her because she's your meal ticket, right? Then they got into the Olympics. We still talking about the Olympics a year later. They won the gold. Why are we still talking about it? There's nothing else to talk about. They went and won gold, case closed. But no, they still want to talk about it because she want to sell her book.
Dawn Staley was on the committee. Then she's, and making the decision. But then she's on with Mike Tirico at the Olympics talking about how great Caitlyn is. And they just didn't want her. And it is unbelievable and unspeakable when you think, for example, as you mentioned, and with Christian Laettner on the men's side, Lobo and others on the women's side.
Breanna Stewart was there.
This is the greatest, exactly, in 2016 in Rio. But this is the greatest scorer in the history of Division I men's or women's basketball. And that's the one you choose to leave at home. And I think throughout, I do also have a chapter on the minimizing of Caitlyn Clark and Tarazi's comments, Stewart's comments, the flurry of falsehoods from Cheryl Swoops, Cheryl Reeve, of course, what she said, Gino, et cetera. And, I do think that they just couldn't believe that a kid from Iowa who didn't go to UConn, who didn't go to Notre Dame, where she had originally said she would, flinging it from the parking lot, and it goes in, the passes that are just a dream. And they just couldn't believe that someone from this program could be this good. And they just didn't want to even begin to deal with her. And I truly, as you know, I've covered the Olympics since the previous LA Games, '84. And I've covered a lot of Olympic team decisions and individual decisions, putting people on the Olympic teams. It's the worst I've ever seen by far. And it looks worse every single day from that moment to right now.
So the Olympic looks worse now. Like the Olympics would look, I don't know how the Olympics look bad because they left off Caitlyn. Yes, she was the leading scorer in college, right? They sent a good team out there that didn't need her services, right? Their only argument for why, as a matter of fact, before they even sent the girls out there to the Olympics, she was having a horrible rookie season. I ain't gonna say horrible. It wasn't a good rookie season. The rest that she got while they was at the Olympics, when they came back and started back the league back up after the Olympics, Caitlyn Clark came out on fire. And she had a really good second half of the season leading up into the playoffs. So she needed that rest. Remember, she had 2 straight runs to the finals with a lot of attention, and then went straight into the giraffe, and then went straight to the Olympic tryouts, and then straight to training camp for Indiana Fever, and then straight into the season to play her rookie season. Like, so she didn't really have no rest, right? That break she got from the Olympics did her some good. She had a really good season after the fact, but they didn't really need her services. And if you look at how she was playing, she wouldn't, she wasn't eligible. She shouldn't have she shouldn't made that roster. They took girls that was better than her. The only argument is, Taurasi was old and Caitlyn was looking better than her. Doing okay, that's fine. But Taurasi was on that team for her leadership and them giving her a last hoorah before she got out here. The same reason why LeBron was on the Olympic team getting his last hoorah. Like, that's a courtesy. I don't mind a courtesy. Caitlyn's going to get several courtesies like that once she established herself, like Diana Taurasi did. When it's her last Olympics or her last chance to play the Olympics, that she's going to get that same courtesy, and there probably will be some rookie that will get left out. Right? The fact that we have to make and change all of these rules for Caitlyn is insane. Here's the really big one. When she said that she's thought about that she probably should go and start her own league, that's when that one took me out.
Suffered like we have, you shouldn't get to enjoy all this, like, just because you're you. And I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around it myself.
Well, no, there's definitely that. And of course, we understand that. I mean, that's how sports is, you know, that you're going to get, pushed and shoved or whatever. The difference is this woman, Caitlyn Clark, is your meal ticket. This is, again, you talked earlier about.
So all the rules that used to apply shouldn't apply now, because the difference is she's your meal ticket.
Tiger Woods. Well, Tiger, and I covered Tiger the length of his career. Absolutely. I mean, they got it quickly and moved on. Now, there wasn't social media the way there is now, so who knows what Tiger would have taken, incoming there.
Yeah.
But the difference there is men's golf, it had Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus, and going back, Sam Snead and Byron Nelson.
Yeah.
So men's golf was established.
Yeah.
Tiger took it to a whole new level.
Yeah.
The WNBA was always down at the bottom, sadly. And Caitlyn's bringing it up into major league status.
Yes, but Tiger had the popularity and the game. Like, his popularity and his game matched. Caitlyn's popularity and her game is uneven. It's a gap between it. There, you can't ask the people that are competing against her to fill that gap for her. You get what I'm saying? Like, the gap that's between her popularity and her actual game, they want that gap to be filled by the WNBA and the people competing against Caitlyn. They want them to fill that gap with falsehoods. Well, in order to make it look like her game matches her popularity, let's guard her less. Let's let her shoot the threes. Let's not pick her up 94 feet. Let's not get physical with her. She should never have a flagrant foul.
status, men's major league status. And that's where you have to say, yes, play her tough. Caitlyn doesn't want any sympathy. She's tough. She can give it out and take it, and she's feisty and all that. But you don't want to injure her. And of course, now, as we know, she's injured again.
Now she's injured again, and she's got a problem with that. Look, you don't want her to get injured. If she's your meal ticket, the last thing you want her to get injured. So don't play her physical, because if she get injured, you're going to lose money.
And that means they're going to lose over half of their viewership, because those are the stats. It's extraordinary. It's a devastating day in the WNBA. She's injured again. That is terrible for them. And I'm not even sure that it registers for them. Do they really want to keep the small things small, Ramona? Is that where we are?
Right.
I truly, and I don't have the answer to that.
Sure
but
seems like
it is absolutely perplexing what should be the greatest moment ever in women's team sport. And it is, because of Caitlyn Clark and the fans and the girls and the boys getting the autographs. Instead, the league continue. The leadership of this league has just failed miserably. That's just not my voice in the book. That's other people as well. Yeah. And what a shame. What a shame, because this is the moment they've been waiting for.
Right. So the leadership, the WNBA has failed as well. So not just the players are jealous. The leadership is horrible with the WNBA. They've failed because, and Brandon Jenner said this on Gilbert Arenas last year. And I think Jeff Teague said it as well. He said, these girls got it all wrong. Like, I'm not saying let Caitlyn score, because like I said, Caitlyn got off to a very rough start her rookie season. Her first 5 games were not good. And probably more than that. It was looking bad. And it was NBA players saying they've got to let her get off, because a lot of people are watching for her. And if y'all make her look bad, people are going to stop watching. Y'all about to mess this up. Everybody's saying y'all about to mess up. We want to see Caitlyn shooting these threes and these logo threes and hitting them like we seen in college. That's what people was excited about. You have to let us see that. So they want Caitlyn to be the Globetrotters, and they want everybody else to be the generals. That's what they're asking for the females to do. Like, just let her do her thing. Like, they're seriously asking professional competitors to be the generals for the Globetrotters. But like I said, the biggest part that blew me away from this interview is when they said that she should leave the WNBA and start her own league.
This seems somewhat ridiculous, but I'm going to throw it at you anyway. Somebody hit me up earlier in the week and said, what if Caitlyn Clark just left and started her own league because of the way she's been treated? Would that work? What do you think?
You know, it's interesting. I thought of that too. Nike loves her. Nike, she's got Wilson, obviously. She's got Gatorade. And if Nike said, we're going to make the Nike Clark League,
right?
You know, it would take, obviously it takes a few years to get the arenas and whatever, but you know, the TV contract, I mean, it's Caitlyn. Yeah. Again, the TV viewership it's Caitlyn Clark. It's not Angel and Caitlyn. It's Caitlyn. It's Caitlyn Clark only. And I think Angel's a great rebounder and great, excellent at what she does. Yeah. She doesn't move the needle on TV ratings. It's Caitlyn, and they could do it. I think they could absolutely put it together in a couple of years. And I'll say on that, because I agree with you. It's fascinating and it's doable because of the void and the vacuum of leadership that the WNBA continues to exhibit.
Dude, you cannot make this up, man. The entire league is jealous. The WNBA leadership has failed Caitlyn Clark, and she probably should, and Nike should support it, and it's capable for her to leave and start her own league, Caitlyn Nike League, starring Caitlyn Clark. What player do you know that wants to compete is going to go and play in a league? Like, imagine if Michael Jordan said after Detroit Pistons was playing him physical, well, if y'all not going to let me go and be great, like, you're killing the league. Like, I'm trying to bring the league to new heights, and Detroit is in the way. So let me leave, start my own league called Nike Jordan League. What players in the league is going to be like, well, let's go over there? Like, who you think gonna make the rules over there? In the Caitlyn Clark Nike League, the name of it already telling you what the purpose of it is. You won't be, you probably want to be able to even score against Caitlyn. Like, Caitlyn might be able to get 10 fouls. Everybody else get 5 fouls. Like, who who would go and play in that league? Like you really sat here and this is this wasn't a question that just popped out of thin air. This is probably something that she wanted to ask, and it, she asked surprised, like, you know what? I actually thought about that. Like either way, it's bad. If one guy was thinking, what you think about her starting her own league? If he had that random thought in his head, and just so happened that this person he's interviewed also had a random thought about that same thing, and thought about it enough to where you could just quickly come out and throw details out how it could work. Either you're duped or you're trying to dupe me. And you got to get up mighty early in the morning to dupe me. So this was a question that was premeditated. She wanted that question because she wanted to put that out there. Because what she want to put out there is, if y'all don't start letting her do her thing, you're going to lose the greatest asset you ever had in the league. Which is another reason why they're celebrating the fact that she's hurt right now, so they can say, look, she's hurt, and look at your ratings going down. Guess what happened to the ratings when Paige Beckers played against Fever without Caitlyn Clark? 20,000 plus people in the stands. The biggest number of fans watching a female sporting event in Texas. I'm telling you, Paige is the real deal. Paige Beckers is the real deal. I'm telling you that. She's a more complete player. I watched them play against the Fever. They lost. They was down by 20, and they came all the way back and took the lead with like 2 minutes left, and then they gave up the ghost at the end. But Aaliyah Boston for the Fever and Kelsey Mitchell was unbelievable. I think Kelsey had 32. Aaliyah had 27. A lot of rebounds. Aaliyah Boston is an all-star starter. So imagine one starter in Caitlyn, one starter in Aaliyah Boston, and then you got Kelsey Mitchell, who is your best scorer on the team, who also might make all-star. We got to see when they come out with the bench. But if she don't make all-star, I know she's going to get some votes because she's unbelievable. It's like watching how Kyrie played as a number two. Like when you're a number two and you just got to find your point somehow, she's a microwave as a scorer, left-handed too. Gets to the paint, get to the cup, athletic, fast, really fast, and can shoot the three. She's probably the second best three-point shooter on the team. The first best is Lexi Hull. Lexi Hull is shooting the three at a 50% clip, y'all. And she's shooting a lot of them because that's all she's shooting in that offense. 50% clip. Let me see if I can pull it up. Points per game, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals, field goal, three-point percentage. Three-point made. Lexi Hull is number one in three-point percentage at 50%. She's the best shooter on the Fever team. Look at her down there in the middle on the bottom row. Lexi Hull, 50% from three. Right? The rookie, Tiana Popo from she plays for Atlanta. She came from South Carolina. She's one of the girls that came off the bench and shot the lights out against Caitlyn Clark in the Fever in that national championship game. She's shooting at 48%. Right? So when they tell you, oh man, all the shooters are in a shooting slump, that's a lie. Right? Lexi Hull ain't in no shooting slump, and nobody else on that list, right? But the best three-point shooter on the team is Lexi Hull. But yet, Caitlyn Clark shooting more threes than her. The second best three-point shooter on that team is Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell. She's the best scorer, best shooter, period, from everywhere on the floor. But as far as from three, is Lexi. Right? But Kelsey Mitchell is unbelievable. And when she got hot, here's one thing that a team that's coaching Paige Beckers can do that you can't do for Caitlyn Clark is when Kelsey Mitchell got hot, they called the timeout. And I'm watching this game. They called the timeout. I say, okay, what's the adjustment? You know what the adjustment was? They came out of the timeout, and for the rest of the game, Paige was guarding Kelsey. They had to use screens to get off of her. So that's one thing you can do with Paige, someone who was well coached by Gino at UConn. Defense is a focal point. taking care of the ball is a focal point. So when you see Paige averaging the same thing as a rookie that Caitlyn averaged, but with a better shooting percentage from all over the place except the free throw line. Caitlyn's free throw was better than Paige. I think Caitlyn's was like high 80s and Paige might be mid 80s. But everything else, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, turnovers was way down. I think Paige is averaging about 2 a game, and Caitlyn was averaging 6 a game as a rookie. Right? She shot way less threes. Just overall best, and then you can also use her as a defender. Like they put her on the best offensive player, Kelsey Mitchell, to slow her down. You know how many blocks this girl has gotten? She's played in because she missed 2 or 3 games for a concussion. So I think she's only played in like maybe 10 games, and she's got 11 blocks. And 2 steals. Like this girl can defend. She can play off the ball, play with the ball. She ISO. She don't need a screen to beat her man. The girl is unreal. She's the real face of the league. If you looking toward the future, I mean, we know as far as popularity, it's Caitlyn. Her name and her face is the name right now. The best player is Asia Wilson of Fusa Collier. The best player of the future is Paige Beckers and Juju Watkins in college. It's not Caitlyn. Right? So maybe she need to go start her own league. I mean, she can take her popularity. You know, sometimes you got to do stuff like this. Sometimes, okay, I'd rather grow slow at a slow pace and eventually get there versus to sell the whole farm for one fan base. I mean, Caitlyn fans have admitted, if y'all don't pick her for the U.S. Olympic team, we're boycotting the Olympics. We're not watching the females. We want your ratings to tank. Like they was purposely blacking out the Olympic Games for the females so they can come back and say, see, y'all should have took Caitlyn. Look at y'all ratings. Like they was personally trying to sabotage the Olympic ratings by not watching, by blacking it out. Right? That was purposely doing it. And then now they're saying if Caitlyn is hurt and not playing, we're going to purposely boycott and black out all WNBA games. And oh, by the way, we don't watch no other games anyway. We only watch Caitlyn. Like this is insane work, nasty work. Very nasty work. Right? So last thing I say, right, they want to compare her to Tiger and Michael and Steph and all this stuff. That's not the real comparison. As far as popularity and her all-star votes and stuff like that, that's very similar to Yao Ming and his fan base. You know, he was gonna get voted in every time, right? That's very similar. As far as what she did in college, all that shooting, very similar to Jimmer Fredette, right? Imagine if Jimmer Fredette did all that shooting in college, got to the NBA, and when people started playing physical on him, that neutralized him. Like he couldn't handle the physicality of the NBA. He couldn't score at that clip. Imagine if his fan base was so huge and so MAGA-like that they said the NBA players are jealous of Jimmer Fredette because he's white and he's the best player in the league because of what he did in college. And the NBA's leadership is incompetent because they're not fixing it so Jimmer Fredette can do what he did in college in the NBA. And they're forcing Jimmer Fredette on you. And when you sitting here looking at like, there's no way he's better than Kobe or LeBron or T-Mac or none of these players is in the league right now. Like he's not even better than Raymond Felton. Like, thank you for what you did in college, man. The Jimmer Fredette mania was real. The Tyler Hansborough stuff at Carolina, that mania was real. We enjoyed it. Even what JJ Redick did at Duke, man. All them great players that went to Duke, JJ Redick outscored all of them. Thank you for what you did at Duke. Now you're in the big leagues. Your services is no longer needed. They're telling us, hey, based on what Caitlyn did in college, we should be able to see this in the WNBA. And if we don't see it, it's because y'all jealous. That's what they tell us. But her game is more similar to how Jason Williams, White Chocolate, that played for the Kings is. And Jason Williams would pull up from 3 at any time. Like it, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the way he did it was beautiful because we used to play like that on the playground. We love to see somebody was doing it in the league. He'll come down with the ball, do something excited, man, some crazy behind the back pass. Like it was very exciting. All his passes was exciting. His 3-pointers was like, it wasn't always logo. Like he'll get to the 3-point line. He didn't pull a lot of logo threes like Caitlyn, but it was all spontaneous, unconscious, fast break. You got Vladdy or Chris Webber, you know, running in the lanes, but this man would just pull up. Like nobody would expect you to pull up on this fast break for this 3 like this. Just pull up, bam. Like, so he was doing stuff like this. And that drives a good coach crazy because like I really wanted to run some offense. I really wanted you to pull it out and run a play. I really wanted you to reward the big man that was trailing. Like, you know, at this point in the game, a contested 3 on a fast break when we had numbers wasn't the best thing because if you miss it, guess what happened? They going on the other way on the fast break. Now they got numbers. They get to the rim on a layup. Like, so you got to make those threes that you those unconscious threes. And Caitlyn take about 12 of those a game. Just unconscious, just like no coach would coach you to take those. But as a fan, it's very exciting. I'm glad you did that because that's what I came to the game to watch. But coaching it is very hard. Like, how do you coach a player and tell them, hey, the entire league is dependent on you taking these threes, but I'm trying to win a game and win a championship, and you're holding us back by taking those threes. All those turnovers you got that you trying to make it an exciting pass, that's also holding us back from winning more games. Right? So you actually, in college, you're supposed to have that type of stuff coached out of your system. You shouldn't be able to do it, especially if you're supposed to be taking care of the ball as a point guard. The last thing you want to do is just take some ill-advised 3-pointer from the logo or throw a risky pass that would be a highlight if they called it and laid it up. But if you're trying to win a game, you probably would say, yeah, I'm gonna be a little bit more conservative because the worst thing that can happen if you see a pass that is a 50-50 chance that it might connect, but if it do connect, it's a highlight. The worst thing that can happen if you don't throw that pass is you still got the ball and now you got to run a play to get a good shot. So sometimes you have to, as a point guard, you have to pick and choose whether do I want this highlight or do I want to keep possession of this ball and make sure that I get a high percentage shot. And sometimes you got to pick and choose, right? And it's a feel for the game you got to have. Like, oh, man, you know, the game is tied right now. It's 2 minutes left. They've scored 2 straight times. We've missed 2 straight shots. I got to make sure we get a shot right now. So that cutter that just cut and is a small window, I'm not throwing that pass at this moment because what I got to make sure for sure as a point guard is we get a high percentage shot. That's my number one priority right now. And people like Jason Williams would still force that pass. And that's what Caitlyn Clark is doing. And that's why Jason Williams said this when he was asked about when he got traded from the Kings.
2002, traded to the Memphis Grizzlies for Mike Bibby. What was that experience like, kind of learning the business of basketball?
It sucked at first, you know, because I didn't really want to leave Sacramento, but shout out to Bibby and the Kings. They got better when I got rid of me as a team, bro. In my eyes, what I know about basketball, that team was better when they got rid of me. They had a better chance of beating the Lakers with Bibby. Just the way I'll just keep it real, bro. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
He admitted it. The way Bibby played and the way I played, that team got better without me. His claim to fame and his main thing was being exciting and making a highlight with a pass or some type of pull-up 3 on a fast break when you're not supposed to have a pull-up 3 at this situation. That was his claim to fame. Now, all of that great passing that he had, explain to me why the Kings' assist numbers as a team went up when they got rid of him. And the reason why is it's better if your team has an offense where you create shots for everyone. Like everyone has the equal opportunity to either create a shot for themselves or create a shot for others. When you do it that way, your team at the end ends up with more playmaking opportunities and more assists. They're more dangerous that way. Versus when you say, I'm going to consolidate all the playmaking to one player. What happens when one player is in charge of all of your playmaking, that one player, their assist numbers go up, but the team either stays the same or don't go up. Because if one player is in charge of all the playmaking, that's a lot on one player. So Caitlyn averages 9 assists. But when you look at her team, if you look at the top 5 team in assists, and there's only 13 teams in the league. So if you're not top 5 or top 6, and they're not top 6, if you're not top 5 or top 6, that means you're below average. So the top 5 teams are the top teams at assists. Why isn't the Fever there? If the best formula for distributing the basketball for your team is one person being in charge of it. And this is what the Kings, like the Kings assist numbers went up with Bibby, and he wasn't even a better passer than Jay Will. But when Jay Will left, Weber, Divock, Bobby Jackson, Doug Christie, everybody was involved in passing the ball. So as a team, you got more assists as a team. So which one do you want? Do you want one player to get a lot of assists, or do you want your teams to get a lot of assists? Right. And that's very similar with Caitlyn Clark. Caitlyn Clark, since she's been absent and when she's out of the games, the Fever get the same amount of assists as when she's on the floor. So if we can still get 20 to 21 assists a game the way we do it without you, why are we going to turn our offense into every play we're doing a high screen and roll for you so you can inflate and pad your assist numbers? Why are we doing that? Right here's an article that kind of summed up some of why Jay Will was traded, and I want you to tell me if this sounds like Caitlyn Clark a little bit. Williams was Sacramento's 7th overall pick in 1998, but despite putting up good numbers and becoming a fan favorite, like those are key words, good numbers and fan favorite, due to his flashy style of play. Who does that sound like? Logo threes, flashy passes, Caitlyn Clark. Good numbers, fan favorite, flashy style of play. That sounds like Caitlyn Clark. His 3-year tenure in Sacramento was turbulent. Dang, turbulent, up and down, really? There was no question that White Chocolate had elite playmaking and leadership skills. His leadership skill and playmaking was elite. Yet your team got better playmaking when they got rid of you. Won more games when they got rid of you, went further when they got rid of you, and got more assists when they got rid of you. He was the engine that ran Sacramento's high-power offense, just like Caitlyn. However, the Kings front office thought that his erratic behavior, not just on but off the court, outweighed his talent. Erratic behavior on the court was part of his play style. Just jacking up threes, just trying street ball fancy passes for no reason. Not being able to read the room well. Like it's not time for you to make that type of shot attempt or that type of pass attempt at this time. Sounds like Caitlyn. It sounds just like Caitlyn, y'all. So y'all keep all that in mind, man. When y'all see all this, man, it's she's not the one. They're trying to force her into being the one. The one don't average six turnovers a game for 2 straight years. And I can't even say 2 straight years. Since her freshman year at Iowa, she's been averaging 6 turnovers. Her coach never got this coached out of her. How do you go from college 4 straight years leading the nation in turnovers and then go straight to the league and lead the league in turnovers? And the crazy thing about it is she set a record last year for turnovers. Never seen that many turnovers before in the WNBA. She's missed 5 games this season, maybe 6. And she's already on pace to break her record from last year. How is that even possible? Right? So turnover machine, can't handle physicality, can't go right. And the media want to force the WNBA and force her competitors not to compete against her. I think that's interesting. Anybody want to call in on this topic? Or are we moving to LeBron James? 1 in the chat if you want to call in. 2 in the chat if y'all ready to just move to the next topic. Our last topic. All right, we're moving, y'all. All right, so for our final topic, y'all, and y'all probably seen this on Gilbert Arenas. Keyshawn Johnson was on there, football player. I think he's from LA. If he's not from LA, he's definitely from Cali, but diehard Laker fan. Diehard Laker fan. And truth teller. Like he ain't even got that type of tactfulness not to be honest and not to tell the truth, right? Like this dude is a truth teller. And he didn't pull no punches, man. Hey, look, it's time for LeBron to go. I'm ready for him to leave, man. So I'm ready for him to go, man. So I appreciate Keyshawn for that. But I'll play it for y'all so y'all can hear what he said.
You know, LeBron is on the back end. Well, he is in the back end, but he's probably his last hoorah as a Laker probably going to be this year. And so you now get that $50-some million back in your cap relief when he's gone, you know, and you not only get the cap relief, that stranglehold that he had on the organization, that now opens up. It's gone. Well, no, it's gone. It's gone. Stranglehold gone. If he gone, the stranglehold gone.
It's a nice strangle, though. Nice strangle, though.
How?
They're still letting him breathe.
Yeah, but you can't. It's just he too. Nah, he cool.
Who?
LeBron. He cool. I fuck with LeBron. He cool.
Like
right?
Like air conditioning cool?
No, when I'm saying cool, I mean like as a player, he cool in his age. Like he's straight, no problems at all. But we ain't going nowhere. So now we gotta. And so we let him get the rocket chair treatment this year.
You sure you want to talk about this?
Why?
I'm just asking.
No, I don't have no problem with it.
Go ahead, continue.
I don't have no problem with it. Some of y'all be having problems with it. I ain't got no problem with it. Yeah, I ain't.
Continue. Go ahead, continue.
But we can get the rocket chair treatment this year, you know, and then go on and do whatever you're going to do, and that's what it's going to be.
So you kind of feel like I felt. Like,
what you mean?
Time to move on from this.
Yeah. Second team All-NBA selection, LeBron.
That's all cool. But if you want the team to be Luka's, it ain't going to be Luka's as long as the king is there. That's just reality. You see what I'm saying?
It could be like both of theirs.
No, it ain't gonna never do. No,
like Red's Beach Cruisers.
No, it ain't gonna be that way. Think about it. When I was playing receiver, wasn't gonna be you ain't throwing the ball to nobody else. That's just because it's the reality of it.
I'm open
until I'm gone.
I'm open.
Once I'm
open when I ain't open.
When I'm gone, you get a ball to somebody else. There's no other option.
Okay.
That's the same thing with LeBron. LeBron doesn't know. Think about it. It's 21 years of playing back. He don't know no other way. You know, everybody keeps saying, well, he can take a step back and he can, you know, maybe he ain't gonna go stand in no corner.
It can't. It's impossible.
It's impossible. It's just that's like asking Jordan to just Kobe, man, just take a back seat to no, ain't gonna happen. So in order for us to get to where we're trying to go, we, you know, farewell tour. That's okay though. So I fucking done everything, man. 40-something years old and championship, and he ain't got nothing to prove.
So LeBron.
So before I get started, man, Terrence Potts, thanks for the super chat. He said it seems like the NBA is the James League to me. So I agree with Keyshawn, right? And the way I look at it is I think LeBron kind of agrees too. I think low key without him announcing it, this might be his farewell tour. He might announce it later, before the season started. Who knows? But these are the things I'm kind of observing. Number one, he's got a couple of commercials out there. One of them, he's like singing like I can't remember what song it is. He's singing out of key, very high pitch. It's funny, you know what I mean? But he's making light of himself lately. You know, he's not taking himself all that serious. You know, might be an indication that he might be letting his guards down a little bit. Like, you know, and you know, he's showing more of his human side a little bit. And from what I heard on his podcast with Steve Nash and Kevin Durant today, it wasn't that much capping in there. It wasn't that much propaganda. It might have been based on the guests who they had, but I didn't hear a lot of propaganda in it. So he might, you know, it feels like more of a wind down, right? And then any other time he had an opportunity with a player option on his deal, he would opt out and get another 2 to 3 year extension and get more money. But this year he just accepted his player option and opted in for the $52 million, and he's playing on the final year of his contract. I don't remember seeing him play on the last year of his contract like this before. So that might be an indication. So he might be ready to go, but for sure, there are a lot of fans, Keyshawn Johnson included, even Jeff Teague. Like, it's time for him to go. Like, there's a lot of people who's like, dude, it's been time. Just go. The league is good. The league is safe. We haven't needed you for a while. Just go. Like, we're tired of it. We're wore out. Brian Windhorst talked about LeBron fatigue, where he has like a 4-year little period with each team, even though it's been different with the Lakers because he's been there 7 years, and then his first stint with Cleveland was 7 years. But when LeBron is really putting that full court press on you, when LeBron and Clutch Sport is putting that full court press on you, like, I have to always be competitive. I have to always go big in free agency. If that doesn't work during the mid-season and before the playoffs, before the trade deadline, we need to go hard again to get help. Like, he always, when he left Miami and came back to Cleveland, he's always applied pressure and pressure and pressure and pressure. You will trade them draft picks. You will give me some help. You will go give me an all-star. You will do this. Like you will pay this Clutch Sports client. It was insane. You will fire this coach. You will hire this coach. Like, the pressure is insane. And Brian Windhorst called it the LeBron fatigue. It lasts about 4 years. A franchise take about 4 years of that, of LeBron leaning on you like that, Clutch Sports leaning on you like that. And usually by that 4th year, they're exhausted. And Clutch Sports and LeBron are usually be exhausted by that time as well, because guess what happens by that 4th year? They've traded all the draft capital that they got for the near future, and they've maximized their cap space with LeBron's contract and the contracts of the players that they've been bringing in to help him win. So you don't have wiggle room in the cap to get free agents, and you ain't got no more draft capital to get help. And that's usually at the point where LeBron look around and say, okay, we ain't got no money to get free agents, and we ain't got no draft picks to trade to use to trade for nobody. All right, it's time for me to go to another team. And that's been a pattern. Right? Once you exhaust your cap space and you refuse to continue to go into the luxury, and then all your draft capital is gone, that's when Clutch Sports and LeBron say, I'm out of here. So now we at year 7. So he made it past the 4 years. Somehow the Lakers was able to keep him around and not be that bothered by it, but maybe they were as bothered by it because they sold the squad. Hey, that's your headache now. You know, maybe they kept him around just because secretly they knew they was trying to sell the team. And no one's going to buy a team for that much money if LeBron would have been gone. But maybe they would have done it if it was just Luka there. Maybe LeBron wasn't needed. Maybe the Luka thing was big for them to be able to pull that sale off, right? Because I don't think if they would have got rid of LeBron and they would have been in a rebuilding situation, they would have got $10 billion, right? So to end the show, thanks for becoming a member. Oh no, Shirada, 15 months. Now, you might be the highest tenure member. That's dope. 15 months, man. That's crazy. The new owner should come in, fire Reddit, cut Britne, rehire Darvingham, give specific instructions to LePed off the bench and move him to 3. Yeah, most of that, except hire Darvingham and put LeBron on the bench. You can't put 52 mil on the bench, right? You got to use that for 52 mil. But I'm gonna open the phone lines up one last time, y'all. I'll probably take 3 phone calls just on if you think LeBron should retire after this season. Should this be his farewell tour or not? And if you don't have a thought on that, then we can have the conversation about any other topics above. But got a caller from South Carolina. Caller from South Carolina, shut YouTube off in the background and go ahead with your comment.
Hey, man, you got an awesome show, man. Let me be the first one to tell you that. And I know you heard it repeatedly.
I appreciate that, bro.
Hey, I appreciate what you do. 2 things. One, LeBron is damaging his legacy. He got too much people out there, clutch sport, trying to diminish Kobe and Mike. And it's ridiculous. It's making him look bad. That's why the fans don't appreciate him anymore. They're pushing him out the games. He still hadn't said anything about the steroid use. And I think the Lakers, and this is just my opinion, I'm entitled to it. They should make him play this year or either get rid of him after All-Star break and do him like Atlanta Hawks did Dominque and get rid of him and send him to a team that's not relevant and cut his son. And you see your true value. You see your value because you keep damaging franchises and they don't have anything to offer as trade bait for the next couple of years. They have no draft picks. So, and that's just my opinion. And I think he's ruined the game that much.
You right.
Tell me I'm wrong.
No, I can't. You're right. But that's funny. You said send him to basketball Siberia and cut his son. Hey, the first part was okay. You know, I probably could have avoided laughing at the first part, but when you said cut his son, I was like, golly.
Because actually his son is holding up a roster space for somebody that they can use. If he had any value, they could trade him and get a better player.
Very true.
Or either trade for a draft pick.
Very true. And they can stop playing games and actually give some of these people they did draft some minutes. Because making the decision during a blowout game, if you want to put Dalton Connect in or Bronny James, is not a decision the coach should have to be making.
Right. And let's not forget how J.J. Redick got his job and Darvingham did more with less talent than he did with more talent.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. Second thing, I think this is your doing, and I'm calling you out for this.
Oh, shoot.
That guy, I can't remember his name. He always called cussing and fussing and using the N-word. And he always lobbying for LeBron. I think you do that as a joke to make people laugh and to make sure we're alert.
Now, only thing I do purposely is produce a show and get on here and talk. Every call that comes in is all random and on their own doing, right? You know what I mean? So, you know, now having a conversation and answering the phone call, knowing there's gonna be some foolishness sometime. I mean, I think people need to see that though, you know, because it does 2 things. One, most of the people who subscribe to this channel agree with some stuff that I agree with a lot of things I say about LeBron. Right. So it's always good. It's always good practice to have hear the other side of it. You know, so I don't mind the other side. I just mind if it gets disrespectful. And that's why, you know, maybe I shouldn't answer those phone calls if it gets disrespectful. Because I'm a pretty respectful person myself, man. I'm too old to be disrespecting people on the internet. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing I would you know, say that's a bad thing about it. But you know, I like hearing opinion that's different than mine.
Now he sounds like he's a good dude, but he's very animated, and it's his way, and he don't listen to nothing you say.
No.
Because anytime he come back with an answer, he come back with another question after you answer the question, and it be simple questions.
Correct.
And then it's like he got to win the argument, and he feel like you disrespect LeBron. LeBron is a good dude. I loved him when he was in Miami. But when he started doing that flopping, doing that crying, and you messing up the integrity of the game, even if it been another sport, you mess up the integrity. And now you got your boys, because the more you play, the more all these rumors start to come out, and they say how you tarnish organizations with your guys in there making decisions. Same thing with Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan didn't want Charles Barkley, and that's his best friend. He said he don't have the heart.
Right.
And that being said, and now the more LeBron played, the more you start hearing about these other stuff, malicious stuff that he was trying to do. So I'm not gonna take up his time, brother. I appreciate your show, and keep on doing what you're doing, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call.
All right.
Yep. All right, let's get another call in here. VC with the super chat. What does IQ mean? Oh man. Caller from Texas, what's good?
You know this is Funky Town. I'm glad somebody else called you out. See there? Tell the truth, shame the devil. See there?
I'm negotiating with
Terrence.
Terrence.
Out there playing exactly. You're out here. If two people separated with 3,000 states between them, saying the same thing, what's going on? What's really happening? What's really happening?
Y'all spitting. Y'all got a good point.
Hey, no. You know, Young, like you said, Young just animated, and like I said, he. The thing is, he's dangerous because he knows some stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just, I think that basically he's like Lex Luthor. He uses his power for evil. That's how I look at it. If you use that intellect and be like, okay, man, we'd have a superhero on our hands. You know what I'm saying? But no, great show. I just wanted to say about LaFleur is that he opted in this time because
Jeff, go ahead. Oh, you was breaking up. I'm sorry. You said it again.
I'm sorry. I said, had he opted out, it would have been tumbleweeds rolling down the street. Nobody. Oh, let me get him. Everybody's seen it. That's why he can read the room.
But somebody would have picked him up if it was for cheap though. Hey Jeff, you breaking up. I can't hear you.
Go ahead.
I said if he opted out and was a free agent and he wasn't asking for all the money in the world, I think somebody would have picked him up. I mean, he's still serviceable, but not for that price tag. Yeah,
not
that price.
No
yeah.
52 million.
No, not
52. Like I said, it would have been humbling. Like I said, if he had opted out, it would have got humbling quick.
That's a fact.
It would have been and that's the thing that his ego was not going to tolerate.
That's
and that this whole little charade would have just been, the house of cards going to all of a sudden start falling. And here's the other thing. If he had to go somewhere else, nobody else is going to let him run the show. And they wasn't going to switch over their whole offense to LeBron ball.
Oh, absolutely.
So he was in a lose-lose situation. This is the best option he had was to opt in because now he got the no trade clause. So basically, they're stuck with each other, and so it's going to be a divorce. We're going to be witnessing this divorce go for a year, right? And mom and dad going to be looking at each other, staring at each other across the dinner table, and kids ain't going to say nothing, and just going to have another year of what we had before.
Mm.
And then but then Luka going to be sneaking in for thirds and seconds.
That's a fact.
At the table.
That's a fact.
His fat chubby.
Hey, they say he's slim now.
No, seriously. No, but man, look, bro. If you gotta wait this long for somebody to come up here and that's supposed to mean something, Oh, I'm slim now. Well, you've been getting paid for how long?
Yeah.
You're an athlete.
Yeah.
That's not even supposed to be like you're an athlete, and you're not a sumo wrestler. So this is not supposed to be like something that's being said. Like, okay, you're slim now. Okay. You were supposed to be slim always. You were supposed to be athletic always.
Yeah.
You get people talking about you like you're the second coming to Larry Bird.
Them dudes.
And if you remember
them dudes that play in college that catch the cheerleaders from when they throw them, they in better shape than Luka.
Yeah, and they're athletes. You know what I mean? Like I said, but like I said, the hopefully, if the whole thing with Joe Dumars trying to get everything changed, and hopefully they're gonna stick. If they stick with it, and they let the game go back to the way it's supposed to be played with some real defense, maybe we can get it. But if we have that, it's not gonna be a safe harbor for that dude anywhere. It's just not gonna be a safe harbor for that kind of. And he ain't the only one, because there's a whole bunch of his disciples that've been, you know what I'm saying? They've been like what you were saying earlier about some of these other people. You know, like they're the whiningest, most pampered, most entitled class of human beings that I've ever, bruh, 82 games. They talking about 82 games too much. Like, I'm sorry. The people that we were considering heroes were looking at like, I got 82 opportunities to go in front of the public and show them what I can do.
Correct.
Right? Correct. They looked at it as an opportunity. I'm gonna show you today. I'm showing you what there are levels to this. But these dudes are like, no, we got first class flight therapists, we got a nutritionist, we got this and that and the other, and now you want me to play 82 games, right? When they made the Celtics miss their flight, or the flight was delayed, and they eating hot dogs all day. What did Larry Bird tell them? What did he tell the opposition? Y'all about to pay for me having to eat these hot dogs all day.
Yeah.
Y'all about to. We had to come here straight from the airport.
Yeah.
Y'all about to pay for this.
Jeff, I gotta get to the next call.
Hey, great show, brother, and y'all keep hitting that like button. And like I said, the chat's on fire tonight.
All right, man. I appreciate you, bro. Hey, Young Cyber, if you're watching, Latasha Allen, boy, she been in the comment section, really going hard for you, man. Let me know if you want me to get her your number. She seemed like a fan. Caller, what's good?
Oh man, trying to make it happen, man. How y'all doing?
What's popping, man? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I think it's a two-way deal. Like Bron, for fans and for media, for money, for revenue, I think Bron's staying is best. He really do provide content. And the fact that nobody trumped him yet, it just simply means that we don't have a true face of the league. When you take somebody like Shea, he got the game, but he don't elevate. You take somebody like Anthony
Edwards.
You take somebody Edwards don't have nuance to his game. He's more like a straightforward guy, or a jacket up three, drive to the goal. So he can fly, but he don't have the same fundamental skill set as somebody like Shea or somebody like Jordan. And so Bron being able to really do what he does with bringing everybody to the table. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, people making money because Bron's still in the game. But on the other hand, he should retire, because what is he doing? So I take somebody like you, Mel, who really watched the game over the last 30 years. I watched the game, but I'm 40 years old. I watched the game, but I didn't study the game until the last 5 years. And so what it's doing is his flaws is making everybody go back and say, oh, so it's because he wasn't capable of closing out when he was in Cavaliers. He was playing for the Cavaliers the first time. It wasn't because he was young. Is causing us to go do a microscope at his game. Like the more we did a microscope at Jordan, there's a lot of people didn't even know Jordan was MVP, 33 points a game, defensive player of the year, steals leader. A lot of people didn't know that. A lot of people. And what happened was when the microscope got on Jordan, we started checking Jordan out. We're like, oh shit, this is the greatest I've ever seen. When we started doing a microscope on Bron, we realized Bron couldn't close the game. I'll give you an example. The last 4 playoff series, the last 3 or 4 playoff series, or at least the last 3 or 4 years, all the games are within reach. Sometimes the Lakers were up, but his inability to create an open shot at any given moment, like guys like Jordan, like Kyrie, like Kobe, his inability to do that, we see it, and it wasn't because he was old. That's stamina. That has nothing to do with the actual ability. And so it made us go, look, oh, that's why he had a problem with the Spurs the first time. That's why he had a problem, you know, with Dallas Mavericks. So I think for him, he need to retire because we're looking back at his career and really realizing what he wasn't capable of.
So you saying he need to quit while he ahead?
Because it's causing everybody to look at his career with a microscope.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is that if let's say you got, because I didn't watch the show several times, you got Young Disciple, I'm not gonna lie to you. You just watch the game. Bron not better than Jordan.
No.
Excuse my language, I don't give a fuck what nobody think. Literally, Mel, you watch the game and you say, oh, this one cold. But you gotta say that's the difference between Jordan and Bron. And that's for anybody that's great, because Bron is truly great. We got to show him his love. I tell people all the time, I'm a Bron fan, but the moment I start comparing him to Jordan is when it sounds like I don't like him, because it's really, it's not even, when I tell people, I say it's close, but it's not even close. Let me explain what I mean by that. Let's say you and I got our own football teams. We play each other. You up on my team 10-7 in the first quarter. That's a close game. It could have swung either way. But the second quarter, guess what? You scored 10 points, I scored 7. Third quarter, we do the same thing. Fourth quarter, you scored 10, we scored 7. By the end of the game, it's 40-28. What do we call it? A blowout.
Mm-hmm.
So when Bron looked great, but we study his career, and you say, oh, shit, it's actually not even close between him and Jordan, because you really got to look at the grand scope of it. When they changed their defense for Jordan, still couldn't stop him.
Mm-hmm.
When you shift your defense for Bron, oh, I see what he can't do. Oh, he's not number one. He's not the greatest of all time.
And that's when he need those players that's on his level but got a different skill set. He need them on his team. You get what I'm saying? Like Michael Jordan's offense was so complete that he could be the focal point however you wanted to do it. And the role players and the co-stars that he had around him didn't have to be A+ score, but you have to have an A+ score side by side with LeBron, because he's not an A+ score.
Because he can't. Yeah. Because he can't close. Let me tell you this. There's actually facts on this. I'm watching Uncut Hoops, and he showed, literally, this is like 20 minutes ago, he showed Jordan, I think in the entire run of the finals in 97, 98, both finals, he had like 180 points in the fourth. And it was Kerr, Kukoc, and Pippen combined, and they didn't have more than him. I got Chat GPT on. I say, Chat, what did Bron and Kyrie's fourth quarter points in the 7-game series when they won the championship? And the total amount of points was like 93, and it was almost split down the middle.
Wow.
And that proves you can't be great. I'm telling you, just do the math. It might be like 55 to like 40 something. Kyrie less, but Kyrie close. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, because Bron lacks creativity in his, and that's what people, I'm gonna say this real quick because I know I'm long-winded, but when Ray Allen gave the definition of a bag, and everybody's always looking for like a definition to put on something so they can debate. It's kind of like the phrase load management. When Ray Allen said a bag is a go-to move, Mel, that was wrong. A bag is simply one's ability to create an open shot.
Correct.
That's all a bag is. A bag is not a go-to move.
Correct.
It's one's ability, and the level of your ability determines how big your bag is. Like Kobe and Kyrie is who I say have an unlimited bag, complete unlimited bag. And so when you start ranking dudes' bag level, like under any circumstances, they can create an open shot, 14 seconds or left, game on the line. Bron can't do that. I watched Bron get stuck. I watched Bron trip over his ball handling. I was like, oh shit, Bron
hey,
he can't create his own shot.
You go watch Game to Mind podcast with KD today, and you're gonna hear LeBron admit to some of his flaws. Never heard him admit to a flaw like that before, but right. I'm probably gonna do a video on it this week. I thought it was interesting, but yeah. What do you hear him say that?
Yeah,
you preaching though. You preaching everything you said was I agree with. It was on point. I would extend that to Kobe as well. I think once you start comparing LeBron to Kobe as well, I think It's no argument.
There's a gap.
Yeah, it's no argument between them as a player, but you can debate LeBron and Kobe on paper because just the circumstances was different. Coming in and having to play this. No, not the eye test at all. As a player,
you can't debate the eye test.
It's not debatable. No, on paper for sure. I mean, he's the paper champion. All right, I mean, he's the number 3 on paper behind Mike and Kareem. But as players, he's definitely not top 5 as a player.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm shocked how guys defend him. The dude literally is incapable. 14 seconds on the clock, and you can't use your mind to create open shot. You got to use your skill because time permits. And the fact that he really not on that level, and it's no fault of his own. I think it's because he built a certain way. It's hard for some people. You can dribble all day. It's just hard for some people to dribble well.
Yeah.
He just built a certain way. That's just not his superpower. And it's just crazy how guys think he the GOAT and he got limitations. That don't make sense to me.
Yeah, too many limitations. Yeah, well, especially, I mean, and that's fine if he would have had limitations and everybody else had the same amount or similar amount of limitations, then yeah, he probably could be there. But when you got some people that have flawless, that like their game is close to flawless as possible, like Michael Jordan, like people are on record saying this man didn't have a flaw in his game.
Not one flaw.
Right, and that's on both sides of the ball, right? So they're saying he didn't have no flaws, right? So how can you be better than that? And if you can't be better than that, then how can you be greater than that? Like, how can you be greater?
Yeah, you know
what I mean? Like,
you could only be better if you have the exact same skills, but bigger, stronger, faster. Like Nick Wright said, no, he is bigger, stronger, faster, but he lacks the actual ball handling jump shot. So now bigger, stronger, faster don't matter in the game of basketball. And so you're right, you got to have everything equal. Plus bigger, stronger factor, but he got faster, but he got way too many flaws.
Yeah, and then you got to do it on paper too. You know what I mean? Because he's the better, more complete player on both sides. Then you think about all his intangibles. His heart, his will to win, his drive, on and off court, all of those things, and then his accomplishments. Right? As far as winning.
I got one question for you. Okay, so when guys they talk up Bron and saying Bron the GOAT, and they talk about his stats. I've never had a chance to ask this question, but how do we determine which stats better? For example, 10 scoring titles or 40,000 points. Like, how do we determine which all-time statistic is a statistic that represents who's better?
I know how I do it.
Now, I know how I do it, but I don't understand how folks are doing.
Oh well, I mean, it's they're picking the guy that they like the most or who they think is the GOAT, and then whatever stats support their argument the most is the one that they're going to cater to. That's how most people do the argument. But
it's hard to do that when the other guy's standing on the mountain. This is Bron either has more rebounds than Dennis Rodman, or he's gonna pass him up this coming season. That ain't even a debate who a better rebounder.
It's not.
Like we really on that shit?
Yeah, that's how they do it. That's how they do it.
I'm lost for intelligence when I see that.
That's how they do it. But all right, thanks, man. I'm gonna get one more call in here. Then I'm gonna end the show, man. Appreciate you.
All right, bro.
All right. All right, let's get one more call, y'all. I wasn't supposed to go over 3 hours today. Y'all lucky. I like y'all. Caller from New York, you be the last caller. What's up? Caller from New York. Caller. Going once, going twice. Caller from New York. All right. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Let me make sure I got all the super chats. Look like I got one more. Let me see if caller from Arkansas was good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, good. Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead. What's your thoughts?
I just want to say, man, the NBA is looking up, bro. First and foremost, the physical defense is coming back. thanks to Dumars, and now LeBron is on his way out. I think basketball has a bright future.
I can't disagree.
And I also like the fact that the Lakers sent a message, and I knew this was going to happen when new ownership came in. They we're not going to capitulate to LeBron anymore. We're not going to make no crazy trades to try to give you a ring, because if you really wanted a ring, you wouldn't have had us draft your bum son. You wouldn't have taken the $52 million. You'd have probably gave us a little bit of money back so we could get you some players here to help you win, help you and Luka win on your way out the door. So, if it were me, and a lot of people they hating on Lakers GM, I would be like, look, we're gonna keep you. We stuck with you. We're gonna give you your $52 million. We appreciate what you did for us, but this is Luka's show now.
Mm-hmm.
I would limit his minutes and just try to do the best we can with what we got this year, and send him on out the door.
Farewell tool. They go. I think they go force that farewell tool on them, and that's probably why Rich Paul came out and was like, LeBron still wants to win and all this crazy stuff. LeBron was speaking through him, but they go force it. And look, and if the Lakers can't force him the farewell tour this season and be his last season, I know I'm not Adam Silver, but I know David Stern would have fought and said, "Look, man, this is it. Like we're moving on. Like we got to move on. You got to go." Right? He would have forced that farewell out of him. So trust me, I think that either the NBA go step in or the Lakers are going to force this man, and he can't sweet talk Jeannie Buss no more, because it seemed like Jeannie Buss was a big softy when it came to that. This new group, this majority owner, they're not going to allow that. You can't come to the game.
No, they're not going to allow that.
And sit between Jeannie Buss' legs and hug on her like she your girlfriend no more, and get your way and get your son drafted. You can't do that no more. That stuff is done and over with, man. And you're right, man. It's high tide that's what the Lakers did.
It is. And I think I saw a shift in the power dynamic between owners and players earlier this season. There was a lot of things that were going on. I'm like, man, I think the owners are taking their power back. I'm all for player empowerment, and when it comes to LeBron, I have a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, me too.
I love it. I love, as a businessman, I love the fact that he has infiltrated the NBA to such a degree that he can force trades in his favor.
Yeah, see, I can't.
But I hate the fact that it hurts other players.
Yeah, that's a fact. But look, I can't even celebrate that though. Right? I can't celebrate it for a couple of reasons. The number one reason, because what you just said, it's hurting other players. Like, so why you celebrating on one end, a black man that's able to, I guess pave his own way, but is at the expense of other black men, right? Is at the expense of them. So you can't even really celebrate it, because it ain't really black excellence, because you shitting on black people, right? So that's one thing.
You're right. It's kind of like he's using his superpower for evil. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And the other thing,
he can use his powers for good, and help players, or he can use it for bad. He's using it for bad, no doubt.
Yeah, it's like if Rosa Parks would have freed all them slaves just to take them to her plantation and slave them. Imagine, not Rosa Parks. I'm sorry, Harriet Tubman. Yeah, Harriet Tubman. Imagine if Harriet Tubman would have freed all them slaves and then took her to her plantation. Was like, hey, y'all can be my slave now. You know what I mean? So they coined LeBron James and champion him for player empowerment, but he empowered himself, and he's really using these dudes, man. So that's one thing. That's one reason why I don't like it. The other reason why I don't like it is because if you want to use your flex your power and whatever you go do, don't let it be for trades and getting your son drafted. Let it be for, like, I would have loved for your power to be used, and once you retire, we ended up with 4 black owners in the NBA.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like why your power gotta be to make more players or more cattle, or to be able to swap cattle around just for your legacy? That ain't impressive to me.
Well, that speaks to his character. LeBron doesn't want to compete. He didn't want to do it the way Jordan, Kobe, Bird, Magic, and all the greats before him did. And I think he realized when he was in his prime in Miami and little Jason Terry was taking him to school. He's like, man, I can't beat Jordan. I can't do this and beat him the right way. So I'm gonna game the system, and he did. Him and Rich Paul gamed the system.
Correct.
And once you start doing that, it becomes part of your DNA, or maybe it was always part of your DNA. It's hard for him to not do it. You know what I'm saying? Once you start cheating and taking shortcuts, it's hard not to, especially when you've gotten away with it for 20 plus years.
Correct.
And it's really sad because LeBron is a great player. You know, people don't believe me because they say, man, you hate LeBron. Like, no, I don't like him as a basketball player. But at one point, I was a LeBron fan when the man came into the league. Now, this is with me, a Michael Jordan fan, saying Jordan's the best I've ever seen to date. I felt like LeBron had the opportunity to surpass Jordan.
He did.
Just like Kobe did.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, we're going to see it. Kobe got close to catching Jordan. He was the closest thing to Jordan. I said, okay, now it's your turn, LeBron. Let's see what you got. You're bigger, you know. I don't know about, he's bigger and strong. I don't know about faster. Jordan did run a 4.3. I don't know if LeBron's faster. But he's bigger and more athletic overall. He had an opportunity. And the man played lights out earlier in his career, but he just never had that heart. And sports is just as much, maybe even more mental than it is physical, especially when you have natural physical gifts. And LeBron has always lacked in that area.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I realized he wasn't going to catch Jordan, I still rooted for the man. I still wanted to just see LeBron and every player be the best they can be the best version of themselves. But what made me sour on LeBron was his antics. It wasn't the fact that he lost 6. It was when he lost 6, how he would make excuses for losing, how he would throw his teammates under the bus. But then when they win, you don't hear it's a team sport when they win. It's always, I'm the greatest.
Correct.
But then when you start counting rings, he'll say, oh, well, it's a team sport. That's a team accomplishment. Duh, basketball is a team sport. But what they leaving out of that argument is, in every team, in every company, anytime you have a group of people, there's always a leader. And the leader is the one that takes the lion's share of the credit and the blame.
Correct. Every time.
And he always first there to take the lion's share of the credit. His fans and himself will give him the lion's share of the credit. But when he loses, it's the same old tired argument. LeBron needs more help. He never takes any of the blame.
That's a fact, man. I appreciate the call, man. I'm gonna go ahead and end it, man. I catch y'all probably again tomorrow when I get in here and talk about these free agent moves and probably some other things. Probably the Gang the Mind podcast. I'll talk about that too. But I catch y'all tomorrow, man. I appreciate it, though.
Appreciate you, Real.
All right, no doubt. All right, thank y'all for getting the likes up for me, man. Make sure y'all, if you haven't hit the like button, that y'all hit the like button before we up out of here. Catch y'all tomorrow, man. Thanks for all the super chats and the comments and the phone calls and all of that good stuff, and definitely the likes. If you shared the podcast, I appreciate you a whole lot. If you subscribe and this is your first time on the show and you subscribe, I appreciate that as well. No full panel Friday this week. I'm traveling, so I'll be gone. We might figure something out that I don't know. We might do a live show in North Carolina with some of the guys that's down there, man. So yeah, y'all might see me Friday as well. We'll see. But other than that, man, I appreciate it. Y'all get any ideas, just send them to me on Instagram or X or whatever the case may be. If y'all see anything that I missed that y'all want me to speak about, send it to me on IG or X, man. But other than that, peace.